We're back here then at the TT Grandstand in Douglas. Time to open those programmes, pages 56 and 57. We are looking for the Monster Energy Supersport TT Race 2, pages 56 and 57. And the non-starters are numbers 8, 25, 30, 31, 41, 42, 43, 47, 49, 50, 57, 59, 62 and 63. And there is one confirmation of machine, as we had in Supersport TT Race 1. Number 38, Jamie Kringle, will ride a Ducati Panigale V2. And we also have, I think, one late non-starter. I think we've had confirmation that Michael de Koppel is not going to start. So a further non-starter, number 54. Those then are the changes to programme for Monster Energy Supersport TT Race 2. We've just had the second race signal, so we're just under half an hour to go. Let's get you back down to the ground. Chris, Mike and Beth.
Just another change as well, Boydie, not sure if you picked on. I've just spoke to him actually as well. Mike Brown going off at number 1. It is down on the list as an R9. He didn't even get the R9 out of the garage. He's had the R60 BPE, the Boyce Precision Engineering, or the BPE team by Russell Racing. That's an R6 Yamaha, not the R9. The only person on an R9 will be Lars Majgan on the number 34 bike. He's on his R9 machine on the, let's get the pronunciation, Behoy Yamaha Racing Team. And we're looking back to the results on the other day, Mike Brown on this one. Of course, Michael Dunlop, as we know, took the race win in the end by 15, about 25 seconds from Dean Harrison. Peter Hickman third, Paul Jordan, Josh Brooks, Dominic Herbertson. Spoke to Dominic there before. How happy is Dominic in that new team? And he's on Mike too, by the way, in that new team and coming home in 6th place. Good performance by Dom.
Yeah, great performance, and you know it was a hard-fought race as well. It wasn't that 6th place was not a distant 6th place. It was mixing it with some really good names. You know, I'm looking at the names
7
like
seconds behind Josh Brooks in the end. Yeah,
Josh Brooks. You know, Jamie Coward, Sean Anderson is beat Ian Hutchinson, Mike Brown, Dave Johnson, all really competitive guys around here.
And don't forget, Mike Brown got a 30-second penalty in the pit stop as well. We talked about this before the start of it, didn't we? About the spot. I think it was the 2nd place. Was it? I'm trying to remember who did. One of the teams did a really good pit stop, pushed them up. Was that the Superbike race? But again, somebody was about a couple of seconds better. And again, pit stops, you know, could come into play in some of the races today, couldn't they?
Yeah, you're right. I think that was Peter Hickman in the Superbike race. Remember, it was
52 seconds.
Yeah, it was a good 2 or 3 seconds faster than anyone else, and that jumped him up a place or two. But a massively important pit stops. We've seen all sorts happening in the pits this week. We've seen 30-second penalties for speeding, which is so easy to do. There's a few ways that can happen. That you can either not get the bike slowed down in time at the beginning of pit lane, not release your pit lane limiter a bit too early at the end of pit lane, or if you've got your pit lane limiter set just a little bit too near the edge. When we've talked about it all through practice week, that pit lane, it runs down. You get halfway along it, then it runs downhill reasonably steeply, and it can make the difference between just ticking over 60 kilometres an hour and 1 mile an hour, half a mile an hour, one of them per kilometre an hour over 60. You'll get a 30-second penalty.
Yeah.
And you know that's not all that can happen in there. We've seen, I think it was in the Supersport race, there was a Ryan Garside and I can't remember who else it was.
Got the wrong pit box.
They got mixed up in the pit lane, and again that's so easy to do because you going in that pit lane, your whole team are in overalls, balaclava, you know. There's no other place that you see him dressed like that, and because all the teams are in that kit, it's very easy to slot yourself into the wrong pit box. You know, there's no kind of when you watch MotoGP or anything like that, all the teams have got all the hoarding up in the pits, and it's you can't really get it wrong. Here it can be quite difficult, so it's really important for your team to kind of flag you to the right place.
Off the back of that, I've just been speaking to Ryan Garside's team, and they've got a big, massive towel, bright orange with Ryan Garside in it, and they're going to do that. But then you look at Dean Harrison, his pit stops, they have a big yellow duster, and Dean knows where he's straight on the road. But when you're coming in traffic, you've got to brake, you've got to concentrate, you've got to come out of Governor's Bridge, you've got to bang, bang, bang on the gears, then you've got to brake by the bus stop is the normal spot. And the amount of people I've seen over the years bouncing into there, because it's that bit of road isn't used that you're braking on. It can be dusty, there could be debris in there. I know the guys will be in there, they'll clear up as much dust as they can, but with this wind that's blowing around, it can be quite difficult, can it?
Yeah, really difficult, and it's
feel the front slide,
massive,
the rear go.
The rear wheels off the ground. It's moving around. You're endoing into there, and it's so hard to sort of judge what 60 kilometres an hour is. The guys have been going around that nearly 200 miles an hour, so that's over 300 kilometres an hour, I think, if my maths are correct. So to have to slow down to 60 kilometres an hour, there's no speedo on these bikes. It's a bit of a guess, and 60 kilometres an hour when you've been doing 300 kilometres an hour, it literally feels like you could get off and walk. So just to judge that, get it right, it's that's part of the skill of TT racing.
And also the exit pit lane, you've got to be careful. How many people have we all seen the end pit lane and they forget to turn the limit on, looking at the bike going, what's happening, what's going on? Push a button and away you go. You've got to be so careful. So many things have to go through your mind when you're coming for a pit stop. We've touched on it and people say, well, it's only a pit stop. It's not.
No.
Concentration.
No. The first pit stop I did, I got in a bit of a tiz because I came in. I'm in first gear rolling down the pit stop. So I pulled the clutch in, and then I couldn't. I lifted my right hand off the bar so the guy could get in to take the fuel cap off, but I couldn't get the bike. I'd put the wrong foot on the floor. I couldn't get the bike off into neutral, so I couldn't let go of the clutch. So I couldn't let go of the clutch and turn the bike off. So I was kind of sat there with the bike running. I couldn't turn the bike off. They couldn't put any fuel in because the bike was running. It was all a bit of a mess. But these things you sort of iron out after a few TTs. But yeah, there's, like we say, there's a lot that can go wrong in the pit stop. So it's not worth rushing. You got to do it quickly. You can gain a little bit, but you can lose a massive amount.
And also the fuel cap. I think Peter Hickman in the Supersport race had problems getting the fuel cap. I think either on or off, there are problems there. And again, I can lose you so much time. Seconds count. It's a time trial. It's not a race. It's a race against the clock. That's what this place is all about. If you just hear, welcome to the Isle of Man, it is sometimes sunny here, and today is definitely one of those days. We are keeping a little eye on there, Barry Burrell as well. We believe the last update was he was on Douglas Prom. Chris Boyd, we're just arriving in the paddock. Okay, so that's good news that he has managed to find his way back, and I think Beth is going to get a little word on him. Hopefully when he does come in, he will be coming in and he'll be going into the little area that he does. But again, that's such a thing. If you've got to know where you're going. I remember a ride at the other year. I think it was possibly Ian Hutchinson got lost. He had the camera running and he was going through fields and also just to try and get back. Because don't forget, there is the access road. You can do the access road, but you're on the inside of the course. If you get stuck like he was at the west of the island, if he knew to get to St John's and turn left, come to Foxdale, get across the top, go across the Plains of Heaven, head down towards B&Q, or the DIY stores are available, down towards Quarterbridge, turn right, past the power station, past that well-known pizza place with the numbered dice on it, and then into the middle of Douglas, and you're here. That's easy for me to say, but if you've only been here like Barry has twice, you can get stuck. I'm not mentioning Domino's Pizza, JP.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. It's a small island, but when you're lost, it feels like a really big island. And it's happened to me once or twice on the Isle of Man, where I've thought of knowing where I am, and you kind of head in the right direction, and then you get sort of blocked. And of course, when the TT's running and there's bikes on circuit, that is a big part of the sort of road infrastructure that's completely stopped. So yeah, it can be quite difficult, and if you don't know your way around, you probably will end up going through a few farmers' fields like we saw. I think it was Hutchie the other year, yeah.
22 minutes to go before the start of this race. We've got to mention there a good performance by Mitch Rees in the Supersport race as well. Riding at number 20, position 29. He start position 21, the 15th place on the Malenko by Paget's bike, the MyCool machine. Uno Costomo on the Ducati Panigale V2, and who else? Baz Ferber on the Triumph Speed Triple. Reese Hardesty from start position number 33, finishing 24th. Julian Trummer, Brian McCormack, and Jamie Kringle, a good 18th there, Jamie. Great performance on that bike you only saw at the start of TT, and that happens so many times, Mike Booth, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and it's also really nice just looking at them the results. Just looking at how many different manufacturers there are in the Superbike race the other day. I think in the top 29 finishers, it was all the bikes were either Hondas or BMWs. There was a few Suzukis, a couple of Yamahas in the sort of the higher up numbers, if you like, the lower down numbers. But yeah, looking at the Supersport class, you've got Yamahas, Ducatis, Hondas, Patterns, Suzuki's, Triumphs. A whole host of manufacturers, and that's what we want to see, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's got to be multi-manufacturalist. That's the word today. 3-lap race then for the Supersports, 2 laps for the sport bikes, and of course 4 laps for the Milwaukee Senior TT a little bit later on. A man who's been round the island, round the houses, Barry Burrell with Beth.
Have you just done a magical mystery tour?
Magical mystery tour, Jesus. That was a long way around. I need to learn the island. I thought I knew where I'd be going, but obviously not. Now, we changed the dash. We've had a dash all practice, an issue with the dash, the practice week, so we just changed it. That's why I went out in the session there. And then I set off and it pulled. I couldn't get in 6th gear basically, and then also it was really lumpy and then it cut out a couple of times. So basically, there's a sensor issue. So yeah, just see if we can get fixed really. But yeah, I thought the best thing was to come off at the road. But to be honest, it would have been dangerous to stay on the track anyway. There's too many bikes out there. It's not fair on them or me. So yeah, hopefully we get sorted and get back out for the race.
I cannot imagine what was going through your head.
Yeah, lost.
Barry, thanks for talking to us.
Good man. Enough to build the GPS into the dash, and again, we reiterate this. It is in the regulations, and they're told in their briefings as well. No touring is permitted on the 37 3/4 mile TT mountain course. You're not allowed to do it. If you have a problem, pull off when it's safe to do so. And of course, you're at Donington, Brands Hatch, place like that. You can tour around, you get back to the pits, you keep to the left. The yellow flags are out, but here, different blind corners. You mentioned it, Mike. So he's done the right thing, Mike Booth, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. Like you say, on a short circuit, you can be in the pits within 30 seconds to a minute, whereas here, you're out there for another 15, 20 minutes, getting in everyone's way. It's not safe. So that's why there is a dispensation, if you like, for these riders. If there is an issue, they can ride these bikes that wouldn't obviously normally be road registered. They wouldn't be road legal. They've not got road legal tyres on, so they are allowed to ride the motorcycles on the road. I think during or 30 minutes after a session's finished, to get back to the paddock. Obviously the guys have got to ride at within the speed limit and ride sensibly and safely, but if they do come back to the pits, they've got to go through scrutineering. They can't, if it's been off the circuit or out of Parc Fermé, they've got to come back through scrutiny, and the bike's got to be checked by the scrutineers before it's allowed back into Parc Fermé and then on the circuit. So I think the team will be trying to do that now if they want to get the bike back in here and get it sorted.
And you mentioned about a dash problem as well. I mean, the electronics on these modern bikes are just a world of magic, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, and it's all linked. You've got multiple ECUs there, the sort of engine, electronic control units that run the electronics, but the dashboard is a big part of that. Everything runs through the dash, and if there's an issue with your dash or the wiring to the dash, it can throw the whole bike out. And there's all these sensors and things that have to kind of play ball. So you only need one small problem with one small part, and it throws the whole of the electronic system out. So they'll be looking to sort that if they want to get back out on that bike.
I think it was the other year in one of the sidecar races with Dave Molyneux. He had a problem. There was a dog on the track at Kurt Michael, and Dave, obviously they delayed the start of the race by 5 or 6 minutes, and Dave had a problem when he set the machine up, and it wasn't right, so he had to take the dash off, and it gave him time to fit that new dash. So it is quite a quick job, but again, simple little things. This place, Mike, is a test. Yeah, we've said it before. The Dialman TT course will damage things on a motorcycle or a sidecar that you would never imagine could be damaged. I'm talking about not just electronic components. That it'll break wheels, it'll break the bracket that holds the fairing on, the bracket that holds the exhaust on. It can crack exhaust pipes. You don't need to have a crash to damage a bike around the TT course. So it's a real big test, and that's why it takes a lot of the teams a few years to figure out exactly what does break, what spares they need to bring, what parts of the bike need to be sort of beefed up and upgraded. So it's a real test for man and machine at the TT. Beth Espy's also with us as well. Beth's going to have a little dander around down there at the bottom of our platform, and we'll stay up here on the road in the sunshine in pretty perfect conditions. And when you first came here, Mike, and you first got the idea of doing the TT, who did you speak to about what you would need for your bike? Because we just touched on that, and we this is quite important stuff for people to know, because it's not just coming here with the bikes to just run at Donington Park. You've got to do a different bike. We talked to Clive about it the other day. Little things just have to be changed. Who did you speak to about it, and what advice?
Everyone and anyone, really. You know, I at the time before I raced here, I was racing in the British Super Stock Championship, and a lot of the guys in that paddock are racing in this paddock as well. So I spent about a year just talking to anyone that I possibly could, just to kind of get as much information about, you know, what I needed to do to build a bike that wasn't just going to survive the TT, but be reasonably competitive and be within the rules. So yeah, when I came in 2016 on an S1000, a BMW S1000RR, yeah, we had a reasonable run and managed to finish 5 of the races that we started. So it was all that sort of all that research paid off, I think.
Ryan Garside is with Beth Espy.
Yeah, just caught you pre-race wee. Sorry about that, Ryan. How you feeling?
Yeah, not bad. Just going to do similar to the other day, but hopefully get it a little bit straighter over Bath. Yeah, just looking forward to it. I've been out for a ride round this morning. Have a look. It's not as wet as I thought, so I reckon it'll be 99% dry by the time we get out. There's one little wet patch going on to Mountain Mile that I've just made sure I remember that one. But other than that, I reckon we're all right.
It must be so weird. You know, obviously you had your little episode over Bath, as you say. When you're on it and then you watch it, how does it compare?
To be honest with you, I say, obviously I did the jump, and as I landed I thought, right, this is a crash, and then somehow I managed to stay on it. I was like, right, and then you've forgotten about it, you just carry on and keep going. Come back, I remembered, oh yeah, I've done this, told everyone about it, and we finally found the clip from the Schoolhouse Corner live stream, and I was like, it didn't look as big as it felt, to be fair, but other people are saying, otherwise a lot of people, from the feedback, people saying, oh yeah, that looked like a big moment, that everyone's collaring me about it. Maybe it looks bigger than I'm just spotting it, I suppose.
Well, you can find it on your social media. Tell people where they can follow you.
Pretty much just search Ryan Garside or Ryan Garside Motorsport, and you'll find it one way or another on all the usual socials.
We'll let you head to the Portaloo, Ryan. Thank you very much. But I'm also here with Mark Goodings as well. How are you feeling, Mark?
Yeah, feeling good. Just hope that wind dies down, ready for senior. So we've got a long wait now, couple of hours before we get on it. But no, did a practice lap there, and we went all right to Ramsey, and then just coasted over at Mountain to wet damp patch as well. So yeah, feeling good.
It must be a bit weird, isn't it, when you're sitting in here and everyone else is getting ready to go out? Do you go out and watch it?
I watch the start, and then I go to my caravan and listen to the radio.
Have a cup of tea?
Yeah, cup of tea, couple of biscuits. Yeah, that sounds about right.
We'll catch up with you later, Mark. Thank you.
Cheers.
Yeah, just spotting all the riders starting to make their way up here. There, of course, is Kevin Keys, a retirement in the first Supersport race. He just come up on the number 35, the Darracor racing machine. Hopefully, he'll be hoping for that. And Maurizio Buttalico. Let's hear from Mike Russell. That was a great performance by Mike Russell in race number 1. 17th position with Beth.
Yeah, we're talking about your 17th place the other day, which was absolutely fantastic. How did it feel?
Absolutely fantastic. You summed it up in a couple of words there. Thanks very much, Beth. Yeah, it was a joy to ride. Fraser Evans Suzuki 750 Next Generation was a fantastic bit of kit. Kind of made a bit of mistake with gearing, as we always do. We kind of changed something last minute, or didn't change something last minute, and you sort of not you're not beating yourself up on the bike, but you're just thinking, could we go any quicker? Could we go any better? But yeah, we just got. I mean, I try and start number 55 or have number 55 for my name, Russell, which is. Been my thing for these last couple of years, obviously, but unfortunately it's kind of scuppered us a little bit in practice qualifying, because we were so sort of far down the order. We tried to push out a few times onto the grid, but to just get a toe with the faster boys and just be out there with them, but unfortunately we weren't allowed, so we kind of put ourselves in a bit of a tricky situation on that side of things, with on the back foot, should we say, for that. But you know, if we can get up towards the seeded numbers for next year's racing, we're going to try and concentrate and put a two-bike assault together for the Supersport class next year, and you know, really focus on that, and obviously the sidecar when they come back as well. But really enjoyed it. You know, the weather conditions were quite good actually, and hopefully today they'll be the same. So, you know, the sun's out down here, so fingers crossed on the mountain we'll get some waves of people as we fly past them.
Hope so. Sporting some new facial hair there.
Well, it's taken me about 3 years to grow this, so appreciate the insult. Thanks very much. No, it's just a little token to the RAF. So the RAF Tash is coming back.
Mike Russell, have a great day.
Thank you very much. Cheers, guys.
Yeah, it was a good performance. We've got to mention about the Supersport races, not just for 600s anymore. You can run Ducati Panigales, as we saw Michael Dunlop. You can also run the next generation ZX 636 Kawasaki's. You can run the 750 GSXR 750s, which of course Josh Brooks was on, and Josh Brooks came home fifth on it. It's the first one home. Well, first one home of the Suzuki's anyway, Mike.
Yeah, great to see a GSXR 750 around the TT course again, isn't it? And we talked about it earlier. It's great to see a few more manufacturers racing in the Supersport class at the TT. It is quite difficult, though, to sort of wrap your head around the new rules of the sort of next generation Supersport class. And as we said before, it'll take a few years to kind of make things fully level. I mean, you've got a couple of bikes out there that are a bit of a cut above the rest, but yeah, I think over the next few years that discrepancy will be narrowed down, and I think it'll be a really, really competitive class and one of the best ones to watch at the TT.
And of course, the sport bike class, we mentioned that we're going to have the sport bike race over 2 laps late, a little bit later on. That is going to level itself out as well. So it's moving forward, but it's moving forward to be more a leveler playing field. That's right.
Yeah, that's right. The sport bike class is a similar sort of thing. It's kind of a bit of a modern class. You've got a lot more different manufacturers because the manufacturers have kind of figured out that an inline 4-cylinder 600cc bike isn't necessarily what everybody wants now. So they're making all different types of bike, and we want to see them all go racing. But yeah, just like this next generation Supersport class, it's going to take a few years for the rules to kind of even themselves out. There was still early days, but there's a lot of very clever people figuring out how to do it. So I'm sure we'll get there.
Cleverer than us, anyway. That breeze has actually picked up just a little bit, hasn't it? Paul Cassidy and Martin Morris go by, 2 Ducati men, Jack Fowler and also David Brook already going on, and just that feeling that they must have now as they walk towards their machine. And Beth, you made your way up to the top near where the traffic lights are. This is how far back that we go, and there is Mike Russell straight into see Boothie. I am liking the Tash, though. I am liking the Tash. Let's hear from Toby Shan. He had a pretty good Supersport race, number 1 from start position 31 at number 56, finishing in 26th position as Toby's with Beth.
Yeah, we're just talking about your first race, Toby, and how that went. What is the plan today?
The plan today, we'll have to have a good sighting like we just had, so I know the conditions out there. So plan of attack is push on, catch the first rider in front of me. I know where I want to see him, and I expect to pass him before where I did in the last race, and then it'll be next rider. Can't wait. And
how important is it for you to have a bit of a race plan?
For me, yeah, for most of it's inside my head in terms of where I want to be on track and the position and the gearing and the level of revs, and convincing myself, just take a little bit more each time.
And when you're sitting on that start line waiting to get the tap on the shoulder, what's going through your head?
Absolutely nothing. Zero. Can't wait to set off at that point.
Toby, have a great race.
Thank you very much.
16th of race, number 1 on the number 18 bike, the Spin Arena GSXR 750. Me and Mike Booth are just talking about the GSXR 750s. How's that been for you? Because obviously we're talking about the changes in the class. Mike, obviously, of course, a former racer himself. And these bikes, what do you think about it? You've raced R6s here before. Joe Yeardsley?
Yeah, I absolutely love it. Like I said, before coming here, we only did 4 sessions at Donington Park on a test day.
That's not here, though.
No, but the first week here, obviously, it's a lot to get used to, but at the end of the day, these bikes are now a standard engine, where before, when you're building an R6, you could spend 7 grand on an engine tune, and then you need refreshing, which costs 3,500-4,000 quid because they've got titanium valves, where now we've got a standard engine that's detuned, which is more competitive. So although it's a big investment, as a long-term project, it is a third of the running costs. So yeah, I say that now and I'll probably break down. But
don't say that.
But no, it's been a lot of investment this year with this and the new Fireblade. We haven't got any spare engines because we were cut short with what we had. But hopefully next year we can invest in spare engines, and then I can do a bit more riding. But that's why we've refrained on what we've done prior to here, because we've only got 1 bike and 1 engine. So yeah, but no, everything's all going well. Fingers crossed we get these 3 races today, and then we can give everyone was driving in this morning, seeing everyone sat on the hedge at 7 o'clock in the morning. So you have to hats off to them to be all the support for us all. So yeah, no, thanks very much.
Race 1, happy 16th?
Yeah, I was. The conditions were far from ideal, so I was held back, and everyone was. Everyone's times were down, and still getting used to the bike and stuff. So no, I was happy with that. So if we can improve today, but like I said, they're still far from ideal, are they? So you still have to ride with care. But no, I'm looking forward to it.
Good luck, Joe.
Thank you.
Standing here with Kevin Keys, we're just saying this must have been one of the longest weeks ever.
Yeah, definitely. No, we've waited all week for this sunshine, so it's nice to finally get it and start spinning some laps again for all these TT fans.
And I know it's been a bit up and down, wasn't it, with the race the other day? What was that? What happened?
Yeah, so I think it was just more damp patches and stuff like that, but unfortunately for us, we had a retirement due to an electrical issue, but yeah, I think the boys have it rectified now and we're hoping to get these 3 laps in.
And how do you feel ahead of a race like this?
Yeah, nervous. I always be nervous for a race, especially here, and especially the damp patches here now, which throws another mix or a curveball in. So I suppose just can ride the conditions and enjoy the race and enjoy riding my bike.
How are the team feeling? You all still getting on?
Yeah. We haven't killed each other yet, so yeah, no, it's all good. Good atmosphere in the camp. Boys are all good spirits. I'm happy, and yeah, looking forward to getting going.
And what more could you want to be doing on a day like this?
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't think of anything better.
Thanks so much for talking to us,
Cheers,
Kevin.
thank you.
His start position 15 for Rob Hodson. Unfortunately, retirement in race number 1. He came into the pits at the end of Wonder Lap. Rob, just for a very quick moment for the start of this Monster Energy Supersport Race 1. Race 2, a Race 1 and a retirement. Reason?
Race 1.
Into the pits and it's Supersport. This one.
Yeah, it's been a long week. Yeah, it just overheated. So, yeah, we got a stone through the radiator and come across another problem. So, yeah, fingers crossed that's all sorted now. It's been on the dyno and stuff like that, and it's showing good power. So, yeah, fingers crossed it should be good again.
I remember you telling me that when he came into the pits, you weren't sure about a stone. Any ideas where that flicked up? No idea.
I'm not too sure, to be honest. But yeah, it could have come from anywhere. But it's we've only rode the bike twice, and yeah, we've got a stone through the radiator twice. So yeah, might be a bad omen, but yeah, it should be. Fingers crossed, be all right. It's just so I went out on the superbike then just for a lap, just to check out the conditions and do a couple of changes with the superbike, and it was so different to riding this the other day. So fingers crossed I can just adapt back to this Ducati and be all right. We need to have a strong start because I'm always half asleep until about my 3rd lap, something like that. So I've not got time to waste.
Wakey.
That's it.
Good luck, Rob.
Cheers.
I'm standing here with Michael Mace, and we're going to talk to this rather well-known person you've got standing next to you. But first of all, how are you feeling ahead of this?
Yeah, just it's quite nice to have some sunshine, and it's just nice for us all to be able to get some laps in, and it's nice for everyone that's made the effort to come over and spectate just to be able to see some bikes going around today.
Is your nan still here?
She's still here. I think she's fell asleep in the awning, so she might miss it, unfortunately.
And what is your plan today? Have you got a game plan, or do you just go out there and take it as it comes?
No, just going to go out there, enjoy 3 laps, ride to the conditions. We came here with a plan to get 2 solid finishes and move the job forward from there. So that's what we're going to aim to do. And
have you been getting some advice from Gary Johnson here?
Yeah, someone's had to look after him this fortnight. So no, to be fair, he's been great. He's helped me for the last sort of 18 months, and it's a shame for him not to be riding this week. But no, if that means I can get a little bit more help and sap some more knowledge out of him, then who better?
Michael, thank you very much indeed. Gary Johnson, how is it for you standing on the sidelines?
It's a little difficult, isn't it? It's like my crack dealer ain't giving me any crack this week, so. I'm not missing it in one way. The stress and the pressure these guys are going under, and obviously with the adverse weather, I'm not missing that rubbish. But I'm obviously missing not going to go down Bray Hill at breakneck speeds. But yeah, who knows if we're going to come back? I've taken people round. I've had a little thing doing that tour. That's gone really well. I've taken Mike and a few guys round and showing them what they need to know and what they need to do with the bikes a bit. I'm really looking forward to seeing him. I enjoy it with Mike. He's quite fat. He nicks all the burgers, but being with him, I'm getting skinnier and skinnier, and everyone's seen us. So on the market, ready for some birds.
I bet. We are obviously here just ahead of this race. What's the best piece of advice you're giving to Mike at this point?
I just go set off with a clear head. Don't overthink it. And I've gone round it with him, and I said, aim to get your points. Don't go for the speed. Get your line right, the speed will come.
Gary Johnson, great to see you here.
Cheers, Al.
So Peter Hickman just putting his right-hand glove on, his left-hand glove on, in a particular order as well. He puts a little skull cap over his head, then puts his lid on, then puts a glove on right and then left, and then taps the left one just to finish it. He's on the 10 bike, but with a difference this time. It is, of course, the Trooper Triumph that he was on. The Trooper Triumph he is on in this one. Connor Cummins, nice and relaxed, just about to put the lid on. Next to him then, of course, we've got 9, Mikey Evans, birthday boy earlier on this week. Beth asked him about cake. I've just seen Charlie Borman having a walk around as well. Nobody at number 8, of course, no Davy Todd, so we got 7. That, of course, will be Josh Brooks. looking to go one better than what he did the other day, and we're just in front of him, not here yet. In fact, just here now, that he's just finishing off his left club, is Michael Dunlop. Can he get that another race win? Quickest lap, 127.672. And of course, the MD, the Scars Racing Machine Stead Plan bike, Cheshire Mouldings on the side of there as well, looking absolutely mint. We've got the CD Racing bike at number 5. That, of course, is David Johnson. Then we got number 4, the Rapid Honda. That, of course, is Jamie Coward. Then we got number 3, Dean Harrison. He led the race early on by a second or so. I think the gap at one point was up to about 2.1. And then Michael just charged, didn't he, after the pit stop. And we will have a pit stop, boys, up there in the tower after the one lap. Entry to Braddon. These are the damp patches around the 37.75 mile mountain course. Entry to Braddon, Glen Helen, Sarah's Cottage, the 11th milestone, Sulby Bridge, Kerramore, Ramsey Hairpin, the Waterworks, Tower Bends, the 27th, Guthrie's. Who spelled Guthrie's like that? Keppel to Cates, the Nook, and Governor's Dip. Let's get up to the tower for the start of the Monster Energy Supersport race number 2, and it's Chris Boyd with Greg Haynes.
Thank you very much, Chris Kinley, and all the interviews down there on the line. The riders are coming into no man's land. It's a 3-lap race, 113.19 miles. Pit stop, as Chris Kinley says, at the end of lap 1. 6 manufacturers are in the entry list. 17 nationalities are represented. Your 2025 Race 2 podium was Michael Dunlop, Dean Harrison and Davey Todd. The lap record stands to Michael Dunlop from 2023. The race record stands to Michael Dunlop from 2025. The starter is Brendan Fairclough, a Monster Energy athlete and downhill mountain bike champion. It's time to go racing on Senior Race Day, Greg Haynes.
It certainly is. Mike Brown away first, and we are now go then for the Monster Energy Supersport TT Race 2 here in glorious sunshine on the Glen Crutchley Road here. We're shooting down past you now at Bray Hill. It'll be 4 minutes before the first time start coming in when they get around to Glen Helen. Second away was Paul Jordan. Dean Harrison moves away now. He was a Superbike winner in the first race we had last weekend. Can he do anything about Dunlop today? The clear favourites for Supersport honours. Jamie Coward is next off. Here he goes. And there he goes, shooting past the grandstand, shooting past our commentary box window. Davo Johnson, the Australian, it was a little bit slow getting away, but nothing too major, and he's already out of my vision on our left-hand side. Now Michael Dunlop is away. He has the record of victories in the Supersport tier. He's running a new gold livery as well in this race. You'll see him coming down Bray Hill in a moment. He's aiming for his 17th Supersport victory. That was Josh Brooks, number 7. Fantastic livery for him on the Ugly and Co machine. 2-time British Superbike champion, of course. Then there's a slight pause. We wish Davey Todd all the best again, recovering from his couple of terrible accidents at Daytona back in March. But now getting ready to go, bouncing off the Rev Limiter, the Daffabet Racing Triumph Street Triple. Sounds absolutely glorious, doesn't it? Michael Evans then from Santon here on the Isle of Man is away. Next comes Peter Hickman, 14 times Isle of Man TT winner. These are all Supersport bikes, don't forget, in this race. Connor Cummins made his debut at the Isle of Man TT in 2006, so 20 years of racing for Connor. That was him on the North Links component Suzuki. And now a man who made his debut here at the TT in 2004, and that is Ian Hutchinson on the Ducati Panigale VT. Remember, that model of bike has already won not 1, but 2 Supersport World titles with Adrian Huertas, and prior to that with Nicolo Buliga. You may have heard of him. That was Sean Anderson on the Stanford Racing ARD Suzuki R750. Rob Hodgson, hopefully no stone in the radiator this time, which caused an engine to overheat on Tuesday in their first race. 15 away already. There goes Nathan Harrison. He just returned from a problem with the Superstock bike in the practice session we've had. Had to get back from Quarter Bridge, but the Supersport bike is away cleanly. Michael Sweeney will go flying past our window next as well, and he is the number 17. Remember, the top 20 are seeded according to their results and experience in previous years. There goes Michael Sweeney. Joe Yeasley's next up. He's from Laxey here on the Isle of Man. One more to go and then a slight pause where we would have had Adam McLean, but he pulled out earlier on in the week. Joe Yeasley, in the meantime, shooting down Bray Hill, and the top few are already quickly approaching the first timing point over at Glen Helen. Joey Thompson now has indeed moved away. Mitch Rees will be next. The New Zealander with the Malenko by Padgett's Honda CBR 600 RR. There is a slight pause, as I say, because Adam McLean would have gone. So a 20-second wait there as opposed to the usual 10. And mixed race away now on the beautifully coloured sky blue machine. Ono Kostomo, you heard Chris Kinley mentioning him before, the rider from Finland. The distinctive grunt there of the Ducati Panigale V2. Reese Hardesty from Wales is next up. This is a Yamaha R6. Remember, almost all of the Yamahas in this field are the R6. We just have the one R9, which we'll talk about shortly. Bas Ferber is next up. That's a Triumph. And the next one is a Triumph as well, and this will be Julian Trummer. Great to see the Smith Racing team here with the Austrian rider. Pulls slightly to the right as he gets away here on Glen Crutchery Road. Absolutely blazing sunshine here now, which is superb to see. Trummer shooting down Bray Hill. Brian McCormack next away. That's another Suzuki. They've had a practice session, these riders, on whichever of the bikes they chose to use. They've also had race 1 on Tuesday. Pierre-Yves Beyond there from France on the Swan Racing PHR Performance. Remember, that's a Peter Hickman team Triumph that they are running. Jamie Kringle, a slightly sluggish start there, but he managed to get away eventually on the number 38. That's 28 of them to have moved away already. Here comes another Triumph. That's Marcus Simpson, like Jamie Kringle, from Douglas, here on the Isle of Man. Toby Shan will be next up. But first of all comes Maurizio Bottalico on the pink Triumph. Spectacular livery there for the Spanish team. Now Toby Shan is away, and in the meantime we're looking on our screen here. The conditions are looking good out there now, with the sunshine beating down those dry patches, hopefully becoming a thing of the past sooner rather than later. Toby Shan away cleanly then on the number 56. AJ Benton from South Africa now on the Honda, shooting past the window. Next will come Kev Keys, as Dunlop in the meantime with his gold livery is over at Glen Helen. Fantastic looking bike. And Chris Boyd, the first sector times are coming in.
He has now cleared Dave O'Johnson, Michael Dunlop. He cleared him in race 1 by Harold's and Gorsley. He was stuck behind Dave O'Johnson all the way up through Ballaspur and Malig Bridge. So later into the lap before Dunlop has found clear air. We know that Mike Brown is first on the road. He might not be showing on your timing screens. He's not showing on ours either. Transponder issues for Mike Brown, but he is out there leading on the road. He will need to be slotted in somewhere into this leaderboard. At Glen Helen lap 1, Dean Harrison on the Honda leads by 1.4 seconds from Michael Dunlop on the Ducati. Then it's Paul Jordan on his Ducati showing in third. No, it's not, because Peter Hickman arrives. Hickman slots into third on the Triumph, 2.7 seconds down on Dunlop. Then Paul Jordan is 0.6 of a second down on Hickman. Then Josh Brooks shows in fifth, Jamie Coward in sixth, then Mikey Evans and Dave O'Johnson, with lots more of these top runners still to come through.
Yeah, you're not wrong. We saw, didn't we, that in the first Supersport race, Michael Dunlop just set off a little bit slower than we was maybe expecting him to, and it was Dean Harrison that led them out at the beginning of the race by a second or two, and we're seeing similar things today. The conditions perhaps a little bit similar out there today than they were in the first Supersport race, a little bit better, but Dunlop, we know, will want to have a real good look at the conditions before he pushes.
Quite dramatically better looking at the sector times. In the race 1, the times on the opening lap out to Glen Helen were about a 4:29. Today, Dean Harrison's done it in 4:19, 10 seconds quicker just between here and Glen Helen.
Oh wow! So Dean's really pushing then, isn't he? He'll be wanting to really capitalise on that lead, and like I say, we saw him lead off in the first Supersport race, and Michael Dunlop just reeled him in and had quite a monumental win, didn't he? But Dean will be doing his best to have a different situation today.
Barry Burrell did not get away. Barry Burrell, who had that problem in practice earlier on this morning, did that magical mystery tour of seemingly the whole island. He tried to get back. He did get back via Peel, Castledown, all along the prom at Douglas, but it looks as though Barry has not got away. That problem, whichever it caused the issue for in practice, has obviously come back to haunt them. They've not been able to sort it. The last few riders just pulling away now. There's about another 9 or 10 to go. David Datzer is the latest to pass our window.
There's a chance that Barry Burrell may be slotted in at the end of the grid. We'll see whether or not Chris or Beth can keep an eye on that for us, as the leading riders now are through Ballaugh Bridge. Mike Brown's time is now showing, and it's showing, we will have to wait for him to be slotted in. Harrison is also through Balaf. Paul Jordan is too, but we're waiting for some of the other riders to come through. Flick back to Glen Helen of the later starters, if you like. Dominic Herbertson slots into 6th. Sean Anderson slots into 7th. Ian Hutchinson slots into 8th. So the riders starting in positions 12, 13 and 14, all filling top 8 positions.
We've just seen Peter Hickman nipping past Michael Evans at Kirk Michael, and it was a little bit of a close one. You know, not a dangerous pass, but a little bit of a scary one. He just nipped through on the fast part of Kirk Michael. But if Michael Evans is if he can just hang on to the back of Pete Hickman for a few corners or half a lap or something, it might just drag him a little bit further up the leaderboard. Miggy Evans is a guy that we've seen going quicker and quicker over the last year or two. So I think he's got it in him to cling on to Pete for a little bit and drag himself a bit further forward.
We've just seen Dunlop fly Balacry jump, both wheels off the ground. He's got clear air in front of him. Dean Harrison has not. Dean Harrison has just caught Paul Jordan on the road as they go through Quarry Bounds, and now they're at Sulby Bridge. He's cleared him. Harrison is ahead of Paul Jordan by Sulby Bridge.
And that lead actually just increasing slightly. It's nearly 2 seconds now, Dean Harrison. So if Michael Dunlop's got a bit of an issue, if he's not just quite pushing as hard as he was in the race the other day, that might be something to do with that. But I think come lap 2, once we've got the pit stop out the way, Michael Dunlop's really going to start pushing on, and that lead.
Hickman's pushing here. Hickman with a really wide line out through the sweeping left-hander into Balacry jump, right out to the right-hand side of the road. We normally see them come pretty much down the centre of the road over Balacry jump. He was right out to the right-hand hedge.
Yeah, if you carry a plenty of speed round the corner before, it just pushes you out to the outside, and you really want to be near the just off the centre of the centre line there to give you the smoothest jump. If you run a bit wide, you get a lot of air, but it's obviously not bothering him, is he? Because he's really got his head tucked in and trying his full effort.
And pretty leery for Harrison there through the cage tree as well. He's still got Paul Jordan right for company as they head up towards the bottom of Sky Hill and on out towards Milltown Cottage. Right with him, but out of the front, Mike Brown continues to lead on the road. He's about to head into Schoolhouse.
Barry Burrell didn't get away, I'm afraid, so 55 of them are away. It would have been 56. Barry Burrell did not get away after that problem in practice with his triumph earlier on. But as you say, they're flying up now towards Ramsey. We're looking at Dean Harrison on our screen. You can hear the engine, the Honda engine of Dean Harrison as he goes round Schoolhouse Corner, where it's dried significantly there.
He's through Schoolhouse with Paul Jordan right behind him, just as Mike Brown was going through Parliament Square. So there's maybe 4 seconds or so between them as they come out through Albert Terrace, and we pick up Harrison and Jordan on the run into the bottom of Mayhill and up through Crookshanks. Brown is just hanging as a carrot right ahead of them.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You can just see how much Dean's pushing, can't you? He was on the rear wheel was off the floor going into Parliament Square, and the front wheel was off the floor as he accelerated out of it. He's using all the tarmac and all the performance out of that CBR 600 to stay in front of Michael Dunlop in the times.
Dunlop is closing down on Coward on the road as they come into Parliament Square. So Coward started 20 seconds ahead of Dunlop. Dunlop is no more than 1 second behind him and looming very, very large.
Yeah, he's caught him at a good place, though. I think if he just catches him at about the gooseneck area, he'll be able to nip up the inside, and hopefully that won't cost him too much time. It's a great place for Jamie Coward as well, because it means if he can get in the slipstream up some of them big hills on the rise up the mountain, it'll just get a few more mile an hour out of that bike and drag him on a little bit.
Dean Harrison inside lap record pace at Ramsey on the opening lap. Michael Dunlop's lap record to Ramsey was 10 minutes 46. Harrison is there in 10:45. He's a second inside lap record pace from a standing start.
And have a look at the big screens if you're here at the Isle of Man TT, because we are seeing the move that Mike Booth described a moment ago at about 180 miles an hour through Kirk Michael. That was incredible for Peter Hickman, and that was crucial as well there to get track position, road position, to make sure he's not delayed by any other bikes. But that was a heart in the mouth moment there.
Yeah, it was. It would have definitely been a heart in the mouth moment for Miggy Evans, but they both got through there safely, and like we say, it might have meant Mikey could just stick to Hickey's back wheel for a little bit and drag him along. But yeah, fair play to Dean Harrison on lap record pace on a bike that we've seen all week isn't up right at the top of the speed traps. If he's putting lap times like that in, it just shows you how hard he's pushing on that Honda.
Into Ramsey then on the opening lap. We need to find a way to slot Mike Brown in. We think he's going to be right in the battle for third place with Peter Hickman. Harrison on lap record pace leads Michael Dunlop by 2.6 seconds into Ramsey on lap 1. Hickman is then 5.5 seconds down on Dunlop. We think that is going to be right where Brown is as well. So Mike Brown maybe third or fourth. We'll have to get him slotted in when they come across the line here. Fifth place will then be Paul Jordan. He is 2.6 seconds down on Hickman. Sixth will be Josh Brooks, 7.4 down on Jordan. Then in seventh place will be Dominic Herbertson. We're awaiting the arrival. No, Ian Hutchinson's there. Seventh will be Jamie Coward. Eighth, Sean Anderson. Ninth is Nathan Harrison. And 10th at the moment, Ian Hutchinson. And Ramsey lap 1.
Real motivation as well for Mike Brown, of course, after that 30-second penalty he received in race 1 for the Supersport class on Tuesday, 3 days ago. He was less than 1 kilometre an hour over the pit lane speed limit, but received the 30-second penalty, dropped him to 10th. He otherwise would have been at least 5th. So Connor Cummins did the same thing. So when they get round to the pits in 2 or 3 minutes time, getting it slowed down, he's absolutely critical to that speed limit.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I was just seeing some pictures there of Dean Harrison and Paul Jordan, who was on his back wheel at the beginning of the mountain section. Dean's absolutely just pulled away from him. Paul not being able to cling on to Dean at the pace that Dean's going. But to be fair, Dean is on lap record pace, and there aren't many people that will be able to cling on to Dean's back wheel at that pace.
He's nearly caught Mike Brown on the road now, Harrison. So Harrison is with Brown in that battle on the road. He's now through the bungalow. He's there in 14 minutes and 7. The lap record, well, it's gone off a little bit on the climb of the mountain because it was 14:03, so he was inside lap record schedule at Ramsey. He's outside of lap record schedule by about 3.5 seconds at the bungalow. So conditions presumably not that great, or maybe it's the wind on the climb of the mountain.
Yeah, there is a little bit of wind when we were stood down there in Parc Ferme. There was a bit of a breeze, and just looking out of our commentary position here, we can see the trees just sort of blowing around a little bit. So when you do get up on the mountain and there's a wind, particularly on these smaller capacity bikes, it makes a big difference. A headwind on a 600cc bike, you really notice it.
Waiting then for Brown, waiting for the rest of them to come through. We're waiting for Mike Brown to be slotted in as well into a leaderboard position. We know there's a problem with his transponder. It shows Dean Harrison as leading by 3.8 seconds at the bungalow. Honda versus Ducati from Michael Dunlop. Then Paul Jordan now shows in third because we're waiting on Peter Hickman to arrive. But we know Mike Brown is also in this battle for the podium spots as Peter Hickman does arrive. Let's get his time through. It'll flash up any second. He's 6.4 seconds down on Dunlop in third. Paul Jordan is then 2.9 seconds down on Hickman in fourth. Then Josh Brooks, Jamie Coward and Davo Johnson are the other men through the bungalow.
Yes, Harrison putting another 1.1 seconds on Dunlop in that sector there up to the bungalow on this opening lap, and some glorious pictures now. There's so many bikes parked up at Craig Nabar, and everybody hanging over the bank on the left-hand side as they plummet down the hill from the Craig through the right-hand King Rapid, known as Gobnagay, and then down into the left-hander of Brandish as the leaders now, the first few bikes, make their way rapidly towards Cronknamona, which is the end of the 5th and final sector. Remember, there are pit stops coming up at the end of this lap. This is going to be absolutely crucial. It's on a knife edge now.
We've seen how crucial the pit stops can be so far this week, haven't we? And with a race like this, you've only got 3 seconds between, just over 3 seconds between the leading riders. And any tiny little mistake can be the difference between first and second coming out the pits. And when you see P1 on your pit board before the pits and you see P2 on your pit board after the pits, it'll be a bitter pill to swallow.
Yeah, Dean Harrison then is through Cronknamona. In fact, he's at Signpost Corner. He's right with Mike Brown on the road. He's right down into Bedstead here. Harrison sat right behind Mike Brown. They come down from Bedstead down towards the entry to the Nook to tip in. Is Harrison going to try a move down here on the entrance to the Nook? No, he's not. He sits it up, sits behind as they head down into the narrow part of the Nook. They'll pop out at Governor's Bridge. No chance, I wouldn't have thought, to get past Mike Brown there. No, Harrison doesn't even look to try. Concentrates on getting the lock over to the right-hand side to get get them into the dip. You can see the sunshine has come out. Glen Crutchley Road bathed in sunshine. They pop out from under the trees. Here they come. We're going to get them into the pit lane. Harrison's pulled out to the right-hand side to try and take Brown on the run into the pit lane. Let's get down to Chris Kinley.
Yeah, bouncing in through the dust and all the leaves and all the debris on the side of the road. But it is number 3, Dean Harrison, that comes in first. He'll stop right opposite us right about now. There you go, that yellow little duster that is there. The rear stand goes in. Mike Brown is in, and there's Paul Jordan in as well. So Dean Harrison in. What was the lap time, though? Chris Boyd, lap record pace still?
129.218. Just the run over the mountain. The conditions obviously not quite there, but still 129.218 is fair going.
Peter Hickman is now at Cronknamona. He is 7.9 back on Michael Dunlop. We're just waiting to see where Mike Brown, who leaves now. Mike Brown is going to be leaving first. So Mike is going to be first on the road to 3 Harrison and 2 Paul Jordan. Just having a few problems getting the Jackson Racing machine started, but he's got it all sorted out. So through Cronknamona was Harrison, Dunlop, Hickman, Jordan. As we've got, who we got in here? Michael Dunlop is in then. The gap coming into the pit stop was 3.6. So he's got it back by 0.7 as Jamie Coward comes in. Jamie holding on to Cronknamona provisionally around about 6th position. Let's look at those pit stops times that they had. That's quite important for the teams. We'll get that for you. 36.5 for Harrison, 34.2 for Jordan, 34.7 as Michael Dunlop exits, as number 7 Josh Brooks comes through, 34.7 for Mike Brown's team. So a slower one for Harrison's as Josh Brooks is in, as Dave O'Johnson is in, as Jamie Coward leaves, as we hear the klaxon go once more. Let's look up and find out, has Chris Boyd worked out the times yet? As we got Hickman in, Hickman is coming in, so let's have a little look at what the gap is there. So Hickman is now in behind. We're just waiting for him to flash up on here. He was, what was he behind? 7.9 back off him coming into the pit stop, but he's not showed up on the timing screen yet. Chris, have you got him?
No, there's no time coming up for Michael Dunlop for his pit stop, so we're not quite sure. It was 3.665 seconds Harrison led Dunlop by coming into the pits. We're not seeing a pit stop time for Michael Dunlop. We do now. 31 point. He's closed it down. Oh my word, he's taken 4.1 seconds out. Dunlop will lead. Dunlop will lead heading out of the pits by about a second.
Dean Harrison incidentally was right on the rear wheel, as Kenneth said, of Mike Brown as they came out of the pits. I was watching them as far as I could to the left-hand side of the window. He tried to pull out to the right and pass him. The last I saw of them, Harrison was still behind Mike Brown, so clearing Mike Brown is critical. I suspect he's probably gone through by now. As soon as we see something on the telly, we'll let you know.
Yeah, a little bit frustrating. Yeah,
yes,
it does look like Dean has
cleared
Mike Brown on the road, but a little bit frustrating for Dean because we're getting some replays now. It looks like on the run into the
Quarter Bridge,
into
maybe?
the Griever section, I think Dean Harrison just nipped past him, or that might be Quarter Bridge. Dean's effectively had to pass Mike Brown twice there, but yeah, it will have cost him a little bit of time, but he's got through now, and he'll be it was Quarter Bridge that overtakes, but he's got clear air in front of him now. He now leads on the road, so he'll be pulling out all the stops to try and get that lead back. If he has, well, it looks like he has just lost it at the grandstand after that pit stop.
And Chris Kennedy, plenty of action still in the pit lane.
Yeah, just keeping an eye on some of the later runners. Spotted Jamie Kringle inside the top 20. Mitch Rees also going well after that good performance on the first one. Mitch in around about 12th position at the moment for him. Here's Dean Harrison. Nathan Harrison about to go out on his H&H Motorcycles, Alaman Steam Packing Company, CBR Honda. Another rider leaving at the bottom. I think that's Rob Hodson. Is he going to get that fired? Is Michael Sweeney? Yeah, Rob Hodson's got it fired up as Michael Sweeney has come in. And look up a bit further. Joe Yeardsley, the Manx rider, holding on number 18 to number 14th position at the moment, just ahead of his compatriot Michael Evans. Let's get back to the front though. We've got Malenko bike coming in as well. This is Mitch Rees now, and Mitch Rees across, holding on to 12th. Boydie.
Yeah, half a second I think it will be. Dunlop switches. Dunlop takes the lead at the coming out of the pit stops. He did a 31.4 second pit stop. Dean Harrison did a 36.5. So 4.1 seconds slower, having come into the pits 3.6 ahead, so it will switch to a half a second lead for Michael Dunlop, leaving the one and only pit stop in the Supersport TT Race 2. Peter Hickman will then continue to lie third. He will be 12.3 seconds down on Michael Dunlop.
Well, Dunlop's crew have been absolutely spectacular. That was almost an identical pit stop to what they did on Tuesday, almost to the 10th of the second. They're absolutely on it, aren't they?
Wow, it's impressive, isn't it? Proper professionals down there. But yeah, are we going to see a rerun of Supersport 1 where Dean Harrison led the first lap and was overtaken just about the time of the first pit stop, and Michael Dunlop led the rest of the race and won? Or has Dean got something else? He's, the pace that he was on that first lap was very, very impressive. Can he just keep up that pace and keep Michael Dunlop honest for the next 2 laps?
Mike Brown has now been slotted in at the end of lap 1. They've worked out his time and they will have manually put him in. Dean Harrison led at the end of lap 1 with a lap speed of 129.218. We know Michael Dunlop has snatched the lead in the pit stop. His opening lap was 128.768. Peter Hickman third at the end of lap 1 and leaving the pits, 127.724. Paul Jordan in fourth, his first lap 127.164. Mike Brown drops into fifth, 126.716. Sixth fastest on the opening lap, sixth in the race, Josh Brooks, 126.252. Then seventh for Dominic Herbertson, eighth for Jamie Coward, ninth for Sean Anderson, 10th for Ian Hutchinson, 11th Nathan Harrison, 12th Connor Cummins, 13th for Mitchell Reese, 14th for Dave O'Johnson, 15th Mikey Evans, and then Joe Yeardley.
Okay, so Dunlop 1.7 seconds ahead of Dean Harrison at Glen Helen on lap 2 of 3. So despite the difference in the pit stops being a good 4.5 seconds, Dunlop's lead is 1.7. So as you say, Chris, how hard now can Dean Harrison ride to try and make up that deficit? It's going to be tricky, isn't it? Up over the mountain section there with Honda versus the Ducati of Dunlop, but he's going to have to ride so hard in the other parts of the course.
Yeah, one of the best riders around the TT course on one of the best motorcycles around the TT course. So for Dean to keep him honest is going to be tricky. But Dean is one of the best riders out there, and we've seen how hard he tries, and we've seen his on lap record pace on the first lap. Didn't quite get that lap record, but it was not hanging around on that first lap. So if anyone can do it, I think Dean Harrison is the man for the job.
Conditions are clearly at their best on the lower part of the course between here and Ramsey, so that's where he wants to try and make any inroads if he can, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's the first half of the lap will suit the Honda and suit Dean. There's a lot more corners and twisty bits, and you've got to work a lot harder when you get up on the mountain section. That's when you can let the motorcycle stretch the legs a little bit, and that's where the extra sort of capacity and the extra performance of the Ducati's engine will really come into its own. And I think that's probably why we're seeing Dean at such an incredible pace on the first half of the lap, then it just kind of like just slows off a little bit when you get up on the mountain section.
Okay, so it's a 1.7 second gap, as we say. I'm just trying to see where some of the others are slotting in. Dom Herbertson is up in 5th position as things stand after Glen Helen. He's having a great week, isn't he, so far on the Macadam Triumph. He was 6th in race 1 on Tuesday. Dom Herbertson, though, it's that Herbertson-Brooks fight yet again, isn't it? Just 0.7 of a second between number 13 and the Australian two-time British Superbike champion Josh Brooks, number 7. Josh Brooks put in an absolutely phenomenal final lap on Tuesday. Herbertson will be well aware of that, Boothie, and keeping a close eye on what the Australian is doing. But 0.7 of a second between them at the moment.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I think Dom will be absolutely thrilled to be battling like that with someone like Josh Brooks, one of the best riders on a short circuit in the world, and increasingly one of the best riders around the TT course. So yeah, Dom, a fantastic ride for him to be in P5 at the moment.
And just confirmation that opening lap for Dean Harrison was the fastest ever standing start lap that we've seen in a Supersport TT.
Yeah, incredible stuff from Dean there. In conditions that we know aren't perfect, they're obviously better than they were the other day, but they talked about a few slight damp patches here and there the other day, so that just shows you how hard Dean's pushing on lap 1. And obviously Dean spends a lot of time with John McGuinness, who's his teammate in the Honda Racing team. And John was always known for how hard he pushed from the off. He was always the fastest out the gate, and that's obviously something that I think John has tried to instill in Dean, because that lap was very impressive.
Dunlop is flying now, just as he did in race 1. Out of pit stop 2, absolutely hit his straps. He now leads by just over 4 seconds from Dean Harrison at Balaf on lap 2. It's almost a repeat of race 1. Came into the pits just behind Dunlop. Dean Harrison snatched the lead, and now he is out there going for it.
Yeah, he's pulled the pin, hasn't he? And like you say, if it's anything like the first Supersport race earlier on in the week, I don't think it looks like no one else is going to see where he's disappeared to, because the pace that he showed earlier in the week on that Ducati, when conditions again weren't ideal, was phenomenal. So if he can do that again, I think it'll be Michael Dunlop's race to lose.
Well, it looked like he was on rails through Quarry Bends this time round, past the 19th milestone, past Sulby Crossroads, and he's on the Sulby Straight now. If you're watching at Ginger Hall, have a look to see how close he gets up to the wall on the outside as he comes out of Sulby Bridge. Not quite as much on the limit as he was yesterday, flicking up the dust, but it is enough. He's gone past now the big crowd who I know are listening to us up at Ginger Hall. It's absolutely spectacular through there. And then the bumpiest part of the course, Ginger Hall, and that run up to Ramsey. It was 4 seconds then, 4.0 Dunlop over Dean Harrison when they came through Balaf Bridge at the end of the second sector. We'll be getting the readings as they get through the Ramsey hairpin in a minute or two from now. Just watching some replays in the meantime of Peter Hickman, as spectacular as ever. And this is where we're seeing Harrison trying to make amends now, make ground in the corners, because we know he's down on the torque and the power of that incredible V2 Ducati of Michael Dunlop. So I'm watching Harrison very closely in the fast corners in particular.
Yeah, they're incredible to see some of these slow motion videos out there. It really shows you the force and the effort and how much what's happening to these bikes. You see the frames deflecting a little bit, the tires moving around. You don't quite get that when you're watching the bikes live or you're watching the bikes at full speed. But when you can slow it down, you can just see how much effort and how much the things are twisting around. And these bikes might be a little bit easier to ride around the TT course than a super bike, but let me tell you now that to be competitive on these, you've got to push so hard, you've got to be so committed, because on a big bike, if you get it a little bit wrong, you can usually make up for a mistake. With all that power that the big bikes have got, these don't have that. We're 120, 130, 140 brake horsepower. If you get a gear wrong, if you get your line wrong, it makes a massive difference to your speed going onto the straight, and therefore your speed all the way down the straight. So you've got to be inch perfect with your line. You've got to be perfect with all your gears. Get on the gas as hard as you possibly can every single corner. Otherwise, you just won't be competitive on a Supersport machine.
Harrison leading on the road through the Ramsey hairpin on lap 2 of the 3. Then Mike Brown is second on the road. Then Paul Jordan, and then I think it will be Michael Dunlop. Dunlop, in fact, might have cleared Jordan already. Chris Kinley?
Yeah, full cameraman and everything here. 46 is going to be a retirement here. Andrea Maiola in the pits. Have to go down the bottom, boys. Down the bottom. There you go. My Spanish is not very good, but down that way. I'll get the thumbs ups, and my Spanish can't be that bad. So unfortunately, he is a former Manx Grand Prix rider. Is a retirement.
Thank you very much. Up to Ramsey on lap 2. Dunlop extends the lead again. It's gone out by another 3.6 seconds. He now leads Harrison by 7.6 seconds in the race. Paul Jordan is through in third. We're waiting on Peter Hickman to arrive. He's into Parliament Square at the moment. We see him flash through. We notice Dean Harrison on the run up towards the hairpin. The body language, he was really pushing. He wants to try and take this to Dunlop. Dunlop's stretching away, but Harrison is giving it his all.
Yeah, he is. He knows the only way that he can compete with Michael Dunlop is to give it absolutely everything, because Dunlop is on the top of his game at the minute on these small bikes, and to compete with like someone like we said on the one of the best bikes on the top of the game, the best rider that we've seen around the TT course, he's got to give it absolutely everything, and that's exactly what he's doing. It's just not quite enough today, or certainly not on this lap, because we see Dunlop just extending that lead slowly to now 7 seconds, but it won't be through lack of trying, will it?
He set the 2 purple sector times as Michael Dunlop of the race, Balaf and Ramsey. So even with 2 laps of fuel on board, rather than the opening lap where he was just carrying the 1 lap of fuel to get into the compulsory pit stop, he is setting the fastest sector times of the race.
Yeah, and that bodes well for the last lap, doesn't it? Where the bike will be a little bit lighter. With this being a 3-lap race, the tyres will be in reasonably good condition by the last lap, rather than a 4-lap race that it would normally be. On the last lap, obviously the guys go straight over the start-finish line without stopping, and they start from a standing start as well. So traditionally, the last lap of the race is generally where we see the best lap times and the best pace. With that light fuel load and a tyre that's still working. If Dean Harrison's still pushing him, I expect to see a possible lap record from Michael Dunlop.
You were listening to a couple of Triumph engines a moment ago, the 765s. Mikey Evans, and right behind him is Dominic Herbertson. Dominic Herbertson is absolutely desperate to get past him on the road because Herbertson has now fallen behind Josh Brooks again in the fight for 5th in this race. 1.5 seconds between them. There's about a minute between them on the road. Dom left the start line 1 minute after Josh Brooks, so it could be a repeat of yesterday's race. There was just 7 seconds between them yesterday when they got to the checkered flag. At the moment then, Dunlop leads by 7.6 over Dean Harrison. Peter Hickman is third, a further 15.5 behind. Then it's Paul Jordan, Brooks, and just 1.5 behind Brooks in terms of timing is Dom Herbertson.
Let's try to take you a little bit further down the leaderboard. 8th to Balaf on lap 2 is Jamie Coward. 9th for Sean Anderson. 10th Ian Hutchinson. 11th for Nathan Harrison, who we've just seen come through the hairpin. 12th for Mitchell Reese. 13th Connor Cummins. 14th Mikey Evans. 15th for Joe Yeardsley. Then it's Rob Hodson, Barry Ferber, Pierre-Yves Biard, Erno Costomo and Miko Sweeney rounding out the top 20. 21st is Joey Thompson. 22nd Reese Hardesty. 23rd Brian McCormack. Then 24th Julian Trummer. 25th Marcus Simpson. Davo Johnson in 26th. And 27th at the moment of those through Balaf, Maurizio Bottalico.
Just looking at some of the speed trap times there, and it looks as though Dean Harrison's team might have just been able to shoehorn a little bit more brake horsepower out of that CBR 600. A few days ago there was, at the speed trap today, I'm looking at Michael Dunlop's time of 176.7 miles an hour down Sulby Straight. Dean Harrison was 174.8, so that's less than 2 miles an hour, which is still a bit of a difference, but earlier on in the week that was near a 4 miles an hour difference. So if Dean Harrison's team have just managed to get a little bit more speed out, that'll just help Dean just keep up with Michael Dunlop a little bit. The difference being Michael Dunlop is on a V-twin, so whilst the top speeds might be a little bit closer, the Ducati of Michael Dunlop will definitely grunt out of the corners with a little bit more oomph, and they'll be able to get up to them speeds a little bit quicker. So still difficult for Michael Dunlop, Dean Harrison to compete, but is a little bit nearer today than he was earlier in the week by the looks of the speed trap times.
Waiting for the riders to get through the next checkpoint as we see. Oh, who's that? That's Dominic Herbertson, I think, isn't it, Greg?
It is, yeah. You could hear, couldn't you, from the track microphones there coming through our speaker, through our headphones rather, how windy it is up at the top of the mountain at the moment. Each of the track cameras has a microphone, and we can hear the audio coming through from those cameras. And of course, Booth, they've had to gear these Supersport bikes to push through the wind even more as well, haven't they? Peter Hickman was talking about that the other day.
Yeah, it's really difficult to get the gearing of these bikes set up when you don't know exactly what the wind speed's going to be, what the wind direction's going to be. You generally tend to set the gearing up on for no wind, and then you kind of ought not to be too far out, but it's so important on these bikes because if you've got a headwind, they just won't pull top gear. If you've got a tailwind, you'll run out of revs. So it's a bit of a trial and error and a bit of a guess sometimes if you've got a windy day like this.
4 of the top riders are through Cronknamoda on this second lap of the Monster Energy Supersport TT Race 2. Michael Dunlop's lead has flown up to 15.2 seconds as they come round Signpost Corner. Dunlop leads Harrison by 15.2. Then we're waiting on Peter Hickman to arrive. Paul Jordan and Mike Brown in third. Looking back to the bungalow, Hickman is third, 16.3 seconds down on Harrison. Then Paul Jordan, 12.1 seconds down on Hickman. Mike Brown in fifth, 3.7 seconds down on Jordan. Josh Brooks is 2.9 seconds down on Brown. Dominic Herbertson 4.7 down on Brooks in seventh as we get them across the line. I want to the final lap. There goes Harrison.
What a great sound just flying past the window here, and they will come through one by one at the grandstand as the sunshine now beats down incredibly. It's fantastic here now. Mike Brown goes flying past the window. There with Dunlop. There's a lot of them together. Paul Jordan right with Dunlop. Remember the different tyre compounds they would have gone for as well. Peter Hickman, for example, always on the Dunlops, as is Michael Dunlop, but he always chooses to use a harder tyre than Peter Hickman. A few of them out there on Metzler rubber as well, and there's another one making their way down the Glen Cutlery Road about to pass our window. We'll let you know who they are as they come up on our screen, but Dunlop's lead now is 16 seconds over Dean Harrison. This is almost a carbon copy of Tuesday's race, isn't it? But there's a lot of riders out there losing time, stuck behind slower runners. They're trying every which way to get round.
Michael Dunlop then has just broken his own record for a lap that includes a pit stop. That was set in last year's race 1 when he went round in, where's the figure, 125.296. He's just done 125.873, so about 4 seconds quicker than that previous lap record for a lap. That includes a pit stop. The lap 2 times do include the pit stop. Dean Harrison was first across the road, 123.611. Michael Dunlop did 125.873. Peter Hickman's just gone across out onto his lap. We'll get the leaderboard update in a second. The lap speed was 123.238. Paul Jordan did 122.627. Mike Brown 122.293. Josh Brooks 122.462. It's very, very close in this 122's laps. In terms of the leaderboard, let's check where we are. Dunlop now leads by 16 seconds from Harrison going out onto the final 37.73 miles. Peter Hickman is then 15.6 seconds down on Harrison. Paul Jordan is 10.1 seconds down on Hickman in 4th. Mike Brown is 5th, 6.7 seconds down on Jordan. Josh Brooks holding on to 6th, 2.4 seconds down on Brown. We await Dominic Herbertson to come through, who was holding on to 7th place at Cronknamona on lap 2.
Yes, that's going to be absolutely critical. He'll be coming through very shortly. I'm looking for the luminous yellow flashes on Dom Herbertson's bike as he comes flying through now. What will the gap be then in relation with Josh Brooks? This is that fight for 5th position. 7.3 seconds it is now. So Brooks is edging away again from Dominic Herbertson, as he did in the first race here on Tuesday. Dunlop, in the meantime, looking at the screens here, is just threading through other riders now like a knife through butter. And a few of those damp patches we had earlier on are going, which is great news. And the confidence levels are up. One thing that will be giving Dunlop so much confidence, I think, though, are those stunning pit stop times, and it looks to me as though Connor Cummins, Chris Kinley, is back in the pit lane.
Yeah, Connor unfortunately in for his unscheduled pit stop. He was in for his pit stop a bit earlier on the 11 bike, currently holding on to around about where was Connor, around about 12th position, having a 12th position finish in the first race for Connor, but looks like he is going to be a retirement on his GSXR 750, the Ramsey man.
He's out of it then. We see Dean Harrison already flying through Balacrane, flips into the right-hander. It looks nice, dry, bone-dry conditions out there as Dunlop is next in. Dunlop's now only maybe 10 seconds, maybe a little bit more behind Harrison on the road.
Yeah, and conditions must be reasonably good now, mustn't they? Because a lot of the guys at the front are on lap record pace. We can see the sun shining, can't we? And it'd be interesting to see just how hard Michael Dunlop continues to push with that 16-second lead. You know, will he just maintain that lead, or will he think about another lap record?
Connor, a confirmed retirement. He wanders across the pit lane and the North Links Components bike gets rolled away. So Connor Cummins definitely out of this Supersport race 2.
What a shame. It's been a bit of a bruising 2 races for him, hasn't it, this week for Connor Cummins. He had a 30-second penalty which dropped him a position or 2 down to 12th in the end with the Suzuki on Tuesday, and out of this one, as you say, just trudging his way down the south gate. I can see him now just disappearing out of sight to the right-hand side out of our window. But they're looking absolutely spectacular now, aren't they? Who would have believed the weather was going to be this good after the misery we've had of the rain and the wind over the last 2 days here on the Isle of Man. You are now listening to Peter Hickman as he comes flying through on the Triumph, and they're on the far side of the course now. They're on the west side of the course for most of them. The leaders, that is, I'm talking about, they're coming up towards Ballaugh, because they've gone through Glen Helen some time ago. So the top few are up towards Ballaugh as we listen into the engine of Peter Hickman.
Yeah, they're not too far up from Glen Helen, actually. They're just heading out onto Cronkovody. They've just gone through there. Dunlop's extended the lead again. It's now up to 18.6 seconds over Harrison. Paul Jordan and Mike Brown, the other 2 riders through Glen Helen, but we're waiting on Peter Hickman, who we know is still on the, well, probably just through Balacrane now to slot into that 3rd place. So we've got another minute or so probably for him to get out to Glen Helen.
Yeah, relief we're getting the Mike Brown times, because that was making our lives a lot more complicated, wasn't it, earlier on in the proceedings with the transponder issue as he got off the line initially. It looked spectacular, the blue bike of Mike Brown with the luminous green crash helmet design.
Yeah, we was talking off air the other day, weren't we, about how great some of these bikes look, and you know, this is the biggest event for everyone who races here. You know, whether you're at the front of this event or whether you're towards the sort of the lower end of the pack. This is the Isle of Man TT, and this is the main event of your racing career. So this is where people pull out all the stops and bring bikes that look absolutely fantastic. We saw some really cool liveries all week. Michael Dunlop running a spectacular looking Ducati in this race. So so if you get a chance to spend any time in the paddock or Parc Fermé today, just have a look at some of these bikes, because up close they are absolutely magnificent.
We will just keep an eye on Dominic Herbertson as well, who's just making his way out towards Ballacrane. He's still well, he's maybe 7 seconds now, 7.4 seconds off Josh Brooks in that battle for 6th coming through here at the grandstand. Michael Dunlop sector time out to Glen Helen is a 4 minutes 19.6. That's quicker than the opening lap, which was of course a standing start, 4 minutes 20.5. So only about 1 second or so quicker. We might have expected to see a slightly bigger differential. It might be that Michael's already got the message here.
Yeah, if he knows he's got nearly a 20-second lead, you don't need to push as hard as you possibly can. You know, we've heard riders talk about winning the race at the slowest possible pace, and he won't want to. He's got another 2 races to do today. He won't want to put too much stress on his body. One of them races has been a 4-lap senior race, which, let me tell you now, is it might not be the 6th lapper that we was hoping for, but 4 laps on a superbike round here is hard work. So he might just be reining it in a little bit, saving a bit of energy and winning the race at the slowest possible pace.
Down to Chris Kinley, more retirements.
Yeah, sadly, Manx rider Marcus Simpson finished 25th in race 1. Wasn't happy with that. Well, he's not going to be happy now, because he is now a retirement in Monster Energy Supersport race number 2, and the bike is being wheeled past me now, and Marcus has headed up maybe into the clutches of Beth Espy, but he didn't look a happy bunny.
Oh dear. Well, Dean Harrison, our race leader, is out for Uberlaf on this final lap. Michael Dunlop's arrived as well, and it is now 20 seconds the gap. 20.5 seconds Dunlop leads by from Dean Harrison, then Mike Brown and Paul Jordan also through. We await Peter Hickman, who sits in 3rd place at Glen Helen on this final lap.
Yeah, you have to say nobody's ever unbeatable in motorcycle racing, but Dunlop on this Ducati in the Supersport class here is as close to unbeatable as you could be at the moment. I'm sure Honda, though, and the likes of the other teams are going to be focusing on their pit stop work as well, because the Scars Racing crew have done an absolutely amazing job all week. As we say, it was actually closer to, well, what was it? 31.4 for Dunlop stop, 36.5 for Dean Harrison. That's a full 5 seconds there they've lost in the pits, and it must just, I guess, booth you as well with the mindset of Dean Harrison, knowing, Dunlop's made up that ground. That must be a huge effect on you.
Yeah, definitely frustrating, and that's where Dunlop got the break, isn't it? Dunlop's got a massive amount of pace, and it looks like he may well have put the lap times in and won the race anyway. But when you feel like you lost the race at that point, that can be a little bit frustrating.
News from race control. Number 38, Jamie Kringle, came off at Union Mills. Reported condition is currently conscious and talking. He's being taken by ambulance to Nobles Hospital for further assessment of his injuries. 38, Jamie Kringle, off at Union Mills, conscious and talking, being taken by ambulance to Noble Hospital for further assessment.
He incidentally was the 28th rider, Jamie Kringle, to move away from the line. The 28th rider to move away from the line at the start of this race. Dunlop then, in the meantime, with that handy advantage up at the front. This being now his 97th Isle of Man TT start for Michael Dunlop. It was 20.5, the latest reading through Balaf Bridge. You're still listening in to the engine of Peter Hickman. I'm also looking at that gap to see. Well, we're just waiting for Dominic Herbertson to come through Balaf Bridge, and then we'll know what the gap is with Josh Brooks. But I think the Australian should be absolutely fine. It was a good 7 or 8 seconds last time we saw it. We'll get Herbertson's reading very shortly.
Yeah, you'd think Josh would have had to make a slight mistake for Dom to be able to bridge that gap at this point in the race, and mistakes aren't something that Josh Brooks is known for, is he? On the Isle of Man TT course on the short circuit, he's a very intelligent rider. He's a very fast rider, but he doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and he's sensible, and would expect him to be rolling around and getting to the end of this Supersport TT without any incidents.
Yes, and like Dunlop, he just builds into the race very nicely indeed. He's very sensible, isn't he? Very secure, and it's 10 seconds now, nearly 11 actually, 10.8 seconds between those two. As you hear the Honda of Harrison, he's just hit right into Parliament Square, and not too far behind now, Chris Boyd, is Michael Dunlop.
Yeah, no more than 5 seconds or so between them on the road. Of course, Harrison started at number 3, Dunlop started at number 6, so 30-second start interval between them. Harrison arrives up to the white gates and out into Stella Maris. Dunlop, as he's going through Stella Maris, Dunlop arrives at white gates. He is that close behind him. He's about 7.5 seconds behind him on the road. That means he's 22.7 seconds ahead of him in the race at Ramsey Hairpin on the final lap. Dunlop on the Ducati leads Harrison on the Honda by 22.7 seconds. Mike Brown is also through Ramsey Hairpin, so through Paul Jordan. Look back to Belaf Bridge. Peter Hickman continues to hold third, 19.4 seconds down on Harrison. That's 13.5 seconds ahead of Paul Jordan. Fifth place for Mike Brown, 4.1 seconds down on Jordan. Josh Brooks in sixth, 3.9 seconds down on Brown. So there's still achievable gaps there for riders to try and move up positions if they can. Dominic Herbertson just arrives at Belaf Bridge and drops into 7th place, 10.8 seconds down on Brooks. Then it's Jamie Coward in 8th, 14 seconds down on Herbertson. 9th for Sean Anderson, 10th for Ian Hutchinson, 11th for Nathan Harrison. Then Mitch Reese in fact arrives and drops into that 11th place, so he overhauls Nathan Harrison for that spot. There's 3 seconds between them. Mikey Evans is 13th, Rob Hodson 14th, 15th for Michael Sweeney, 16th for Dave O'Johnson, but we know there are a lot more riders to come and we await Peter Hickman to arrive at Ramsey Hairpin to get a proper idea of this top 3. As we see Josh Brooks just arriving on the Ugly & Co bike. He's there now. Hickman does arrive as well. So Dunlop leads at Ramsey on the final lap. 12 miles to go back to us here at the TT Grandstand. 22.7 seconds Dunlop leads by. Hickman now 18.6 seconds down on Harrison, but 15.9 seconds ahead of Paul Jordan.
I don't know exactly what information Michael Dunlop's getting on his pit boards. He'll know that he's leading this race, and if he knows that Dean Harrison is in second place, he'll be in a great position on the road now, because he'll be able to see Dean. He'll know that it's Dean in front of him, and there's about 8 seconds between them on the road. So Michael Dunlop will know that he doesn't need to catch Dean, but as long as he can see him, he's caught him by enough to win this race. But you know, he's a racer, isn't he? And if he sees a carrot in front of him on the road, he'll probably he'll like the idea of catching him on the road, and he'll really like the idea of overtaking him on the road and winning this Supersport race 2 on the winning it on the road as well as on the times, and getting over that finish line on Grand Country Road for the checkered flag as number 1.
It's finding that balance, isn't it? Because he's pushing. The sector times are about 3 seconds off what they were on the previous lap on each sector. So he's definitely got the message that he's got this race under control. But now, as you say, it's that carrot in front of you and the chance to win on the road and in the race.
Yeah, and it's a real scalp, isn't it? You know, catching Dean Harrison, who was again at the top of his game, catching him on the road, overtaking him, and beating him. That's a bit more special than just beating him in the standings.
Yeah, and in terms of those boards, there are popular places, aren't there, for the boards? Banner Crane, Sulby Bridge, where incidentally we've seen Dunlop again really up to the edge of the wall and kicking up all of the dust and the pebbles on a replay we were just watching a couple of minutes ago. Exit of Craignabar as well, of course, a very popular place for hanging out the boards. And you'll see as they come down actually from Kate's Cottage, those of you who are up there at Craignabar, the difference between the Honda and the Ducati with these next generation Supersport rules. We've seen them brought in to the World Championship and to the British Championship. Scott Smart and co overseeing those rules. We've seen it over recent years. They can adjust all sorts of things with the parameters and the electronics, torque curves, torque of course, how hard the engine can punch, that twisting, that rotational power, that force, and then power of course, how fast the engine can punch, how quickly it can get that work completed. And all of these different parameters can be controlled to even up the field, to allow the variety of bikes that we have in the Supersport class. Remember, it's a category that people were saying was dead just a few years ago. I don't think it is anymore.
Mikey Evans, Dave O'Johnson and Ian Hutchinson all together coming through Ramsey. That'll be a real nice shot if any of the cameramen are up on the climb of the mountain to get the 3 of them line astern together, as the top end of the riders now are coming out through Windy Corner already. The front 4 are through the bungalow. We're just waiting for Hickman to arrive. The lead has gone out to 24.7. So in terms of on the road, Dunlop is now 5.2 about 5.25 seconds behind Harrison. He might not catch him before they get to us back here, but he's got this well and truly in hand. We're waiting for Hickman to arrive at the bungalow. He looks like maybe the third rider in the shot that we're seeing just at the moment. Jamie Coward just going through in the 4 shot before that as we look for Peter Hickman to flash out through into, here he comes, into shot, tips it into the right-hander, get the knee down, away from the curbs, over the railway line, out to the left-hand side of the road, clip the giveaway at the top of Faulty Will, make his way up Halewood's Heights, and he is 16.9 seconds down on Harrison in third, but 17.5 seconds ahead of Paul Jordan in fourth.
He's always so neat and tidy on the bike, Peter Hickman. He obviously cut his teeth on short circuits, spent a lot of time in the British Superbike Championship. He's a tall rider, and sometimes bigger lads on Supersport bikes struggle to get themselves tucked in, but Pete does a real good job and always looks like a really safe, fast rider on a Supersport bike. Even though he says, he'll tell anyone it's not his strong suit. He's obviously fairly strong on a Supersport bike because he's in a podium position, and it looks like he's going to be the third man on the podium come the end of this race.
Waiting then for Michael Dunlop to make his way off the mountain. He is doing so. I think he's on the run down to Hilbury already. Yeah, the crowd there on the left-hand side. He tips over the right-hander, the real flick right-hander. You drive up the hill at Hilbury. You drive into the left-handers at Crocknamona on the Scars Ducati. It's out to 26.6 it is at Crocknamona as we pick up Dunlop then. Tips it out through the left-handers, gets on the brakes for Signpost Corner, into the right-hander, down the hill to Bedstead, drive down with the estates on either side of you now. It used to be open fields there under the archway for the people to be able to cross the road there at Bedstead, down past the school towards the Nook.
Chris, just a quick one before we call Dunlop over the line. It's getting very, very close in that battle for third in this race. Now, Mike Brown at Crocknamona, he's only 0.7 of a second, I believe, ahead of Paul Jordan.
We're waiting for Peter Hickman to arrive, of course.
And Josh Brooks as well isn't too far behind, so we'll see what he can do too.
Dean Harrison then out onto Glen Crutchley Road to complete the race. Harrison will flag through. Dunlop is right behind him. Here comes Dean Harrison. The checkered flag awaits. Harrison through, but here comes 35 times a TT winner, Michael Dunlop.
And his 17th victory in the Supersport category, Michael Dunlop. It is absolutely amazing the way he gets off the line, the pit stop times, the way he pulls away from the second lap. Those outlaps from the pits are absolutely sensational. As we'll say, we'll wait for Hickman to come through for that podium, but those other riders are very, very close together in terms of time, so we'll keep an eye on that.
We will. We won't have time probably to take Hickman across the line before we need to go down to the winners' enclosure. Quickly, the final laps, 127.197 for Dean Harrison, 128.405 for Michael Dunlop. Mike Brown, 127.154. Paul Jordan, 126.241. Can see them coming up the return road. We'll not miss them into the winners' enclosure. As we did the other day, Chris Kinley, we'll update you on Peter Hickman.
And the applause starts as he comes up the return road there, winning by 26.127 seconds. It's Dean Harrison, the first rider in, gets a second place, but Michael Dunlop is in. Michael Dunlop is in. What a performance up by Mike Brown, getting hold of that fourth place. Here we go. That is the sound of the Scars Racing Ducati being burned out in the middle of the winners' enclosure, and the fans love a bit of that, a bit of good smoke going around, and we'll get round if we can. Hickman confirmed in third, 13 seconds back of Dean Harrison, but Michael Dunlop, now as you quite rightly say, Chris Boyd, a 35-time TT winner. Mike Brown in fourth, Paul Jordan in fifth, Josh Brooks in sixth provisionally at the moment. They're waiting for Dominic Herberson to come home in seventh, but we'll let Michael just take the gloves off. Gary Ryan and the boys are there. Dean speaking to him once again, and there we are, chaps. Gives a hug to the Scars team before he speaks to me, takes the lid off and says congratulations to all his team. Carl Cox is in there from the Carl Cox Motorsport team. Carl Cox straighten, he's not a bad DJ in his time as well. All the guys, the Hicken boys are there too, but we'll just jump in now. It's very important that he shakes hands with all the guys first before he speaks to me. That is the important thing. Well, there we go, the Dunlop hat goes on, the Monster Energy hat goes on. He's getting a big drink as well. Michael Dunlop, have a drink, don't worry about me, have a drink. Do you know what, I've had the privilege of doing this now 35 times. Well done, young man.
Oh, I know the privilege of doing it 35 times. It's been good. The career's been good, really, for around here. Anyway, it's been fantastic, really, and I can't say more to the boys. The bike was phenomenal. The bike was phenomenal the day again. Just settled off again. Conditions were bad. New Dean would come out the block and then up the pace, but the wee bike was mint, and thanks to everybody, that's the whole team that keeps the thing going.
Coming into the pit stops, Dean was about 2 and a bit seconds ahead. Your team did a 31-second pit stop compared to everybody else, 34, 35. They got you 4 seconds in the pits near enough.
Yeah, no, they've been great in the pit stops all week, and I knew rightly that I needed to up my game in the second lap anyway, so I just started up my game, and then I didn't really have many boards, I just sort of had them at the start, so yeah, it sort of pushed on. Then I could see Dean, and then I seen Dean. Then I knew I had a massive idea it was Dean. So then I just you know, it's funny old job this year. The old job's great. You know what I mean? The bike's great. You know, and look, it's all about rules and whatnot. Anybody can buy one. Anybody can ride one. I bought one. I'm riding one. You know, it's the bike's been great. Dale and Lee and Buckle and Aaron's not here. He went home to glory hunt instead of staying here, so he had to go to a test. So, but they've done a great job all week, and thanks to all the boys and all my own lads, we've all been working hard all week. No boards at all out there, just the odd one, did you say? Just the odd one here at the start of the sectors, and then right up to about Hanley's, and then after that, I thought we had one at the Craig, and I must have missed him because he'd been doing it all week, and I missed him. Like, oh crap, I can't see. I know who he is, and I knew you'd have done it for me, but I missed it, and I was like, I need to up my game, and we did. But great job for Ducati again. It's new livery as well, a different livery again. So it's just thanks we made it that point. 35 TT wins. Oh yeah, no, that's good now. It's good. It's I feel good when the bikes are good. I know I can win. Not that the bike's not good. When they're sitting right and I'm right, I know what I'm capable of. Later on, Milwaukee Senior TT. Obviously got the sport bike race first off as well. But you got the Milwaukee race coming up next. Yeah, sport bike race. If the wee bike goes well, it should go well. You know, I've been good on it all week. Really, a few laps that I've done on it. It's plain to be seen the big bike race has been hard work for me this week. We've struggled with setup a wee bit, so not really setup. We just have an issue with a bit that's not working, and we've been struggling a bit. That's no secret. So the way Dean rides his big bike, you have to have everyone on the game. But we're making changes. Steve's working hard, and hopefully we can come out the crate fighting. Congratulations, Michael. Well done. Cheers. Thank you very much. Well done. Thank you very much. And we'll grab a quick word with Dean if we can. Sorry, Dean, just to jump in. Sorry, boys, Sammy and the team. And no fuel left.
No, we're just having a bit of a laugh about the pit stop. Quite funny because the fuel cap wouldn't go on. No major. Just we're having a bit of a laugh and a joke. That's all. Got a good start again, but then he upped the game. But his pit stop was 31 seconds. Everyone else was 34, 35s. Yeah, I don't understand it, to be honest. It's like, there's quite a discrepancy in the fillers, which is I'm not quite sure what's going on there, because we were straight in, straight out of the pits. But no, there's not a lot you can do. To be fair, the little 600 never missed a beat the whole race. So we'll have to see what this afternoon brings. You found more pace on the Sulby Straight, though. You had 3 or 4 mile an hour than the other day. Yeah, twice. I had a real good slipstream of Paul and Mike Brown. And I got the same all the way up the mountain. They dragged me up the mountain on lap 1, which sort of helped my lap time, I think. And then once I got through, then I was doing it by myself, so I sort of dropped off a little bit because I can't quite drag myself through there as well as the Ducati can. So, no, well, happy with second. Bike were faultless the whole race. Everyone's happy, so we'll have to have another go this afternoon. Thank you, Dean. Cheers, thank you. Thank you, Dean Harrison, off to do the TV, and I think Peter is just somewhere around here. Not sure where he is. Where's he? Oh, there he is over there, speaking to some BMW guys. And sorry, BMW chaps, just to jump in ahead of you. Pete, all right on the Trooper Triumph? Happy with that?
Yeah, really happy. You know, 3 races now, 3 podiums. Genuinely couldn't have asked for much more, could we? So it's been a good couple of weeks so far. Fingers crossed the sunshine keeps coming now, and we get the rest of the day in, and we get some more racing tomorrow. But the little Trooper Triumph working really, really well. Really happy with it. Hopefully a lot of the crowd were enjoying seeing the Trooper livery out because it's the first time this week.
What about conditions out there? Because it's improved since you went out on the lap about an hour and 2, however long ago that was.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, from the warm-up lap to now, the conditions are way better. You can race in that's all right. But yeah, no, really good. So and it's only going to improve the rest of the day as long as obviously we don't get any more rain out of the sky.
Looking forward to the sport bike in the Milwaukee Senior.
Yeah, it should be interesting. It's obviously going to be a big day for a lot of us. You know, I'm going to do 10 laps today, and 9 of them is going to be race laps. So it's going to be tough, but we'll dig in and have a good go.
Thank you, Pete, for your time.
Thanks, mate.
Let's hear from Dominic Herbertson. Great performance yet again by Dom the Bomb. Home in 7th. Here's with Beth.
Certainly is. Did that feel as good as it looked out there, Dom?
It just got better and better, and I'm not sure if everyone just got braver and braver. I think we are incredibly lucky to be signing here Friday to get a race in, considering we've all just been dodging the rain like rats, haven't we? Oh, you can't say that on the Isle of Man.
Long tails, it's fine. Touch
you can't
wood,
say
it's
that on
fine.
the Isle of Man, but don't worry, I'm a Geordie fella, it doesn't count. Don't worry about that. But obviously, it was a clean race on that side of things, but no, just enjoyed it. I don't know what to say, really. You know what I mean? No, it's obviously, thank you so much to the KTS team. It's the fact that you come in and they're all smiling means the world to us. It's don't worry, P7. Now I'm getting hungry for it. Now I want P6 and above, and that's the competitive nature in this. But all good fun, and yeah, happy days.
And you sort of mentioned there, it's all the people who get you to that start line in the first place.
Sorry?
All the people who get you to the start line in the first place.
Yeah, 100%. It's not just the team, it's friends, it's family. Get the little violin out and light some candles. I could write a sonnet about it, but as much as all the riders say it, we all mean it. You can't come here without buckets of loads of money yourself, and everyone around you who chips in and gets you here. I can't thank them enough.
Dominic, great to talk to you.
Cheers. See you in a bit.
Thank you very much, Beth. And that was, I think, Greg, you were monitoring. There was a fantastic scrap going on for 5th, 6th and 7th, was it?
4th, 5th, 6th. Yeah, my apologies first of all to Peter Hickman fans for worrying you there on that last lap, saying it was for the podium. Sorry about that. Trying to get my head around the Isle of Man timing screen. But yes, for 4th, 5th and 6th, 2.5 seconds is all it was between Mike Brown, Paul Jordan and Josh Brooks. So Brown in the end was just 9/10 ahead of Paul Jordan, who in turn was 1.6 seconds ahead of Josh Brooks, and that is after 113 miles of racing over 3 laps here.
Sensational. Really all came together right at the end. And then Dominic Herbertson, who we've just spoken to, slots into 7th. 8th for Jamie Coward on the Rapid Drive Honda. 15.7 seconds down on Dominic Herbertson. Back down to you, Beth.
Standing here with Brian McCormack, just going over that race in your head. How was it?
Okay. Yeah, the second 2 laps are good. After the pit stop, I was a bit asleep for the first lap. But I was kind of had the rest of the races in mind, which is not right. I should have been pushing from the word go, but I was just a bit lax in the first lap for some reason, and some lads around me, and then I kind of settled into it after the pit stop, and I enjoyed it. Look, the track is getting better and better every lap, so I did enjoy the spin. That's all it was a bit of a spin, but yeah, look, big bike is our thing later on, and hopefully we'll get the finger out and go well in that.
I tell you, it must be difficult though, isn't it, when you've got a big day ahead, like we were saying earlier?
Yeah, and the last lap I was kind of conscious of it, just right around, and because I knew I was kind of nowhere in the standings, so just right around and conserve energy a little bit. But we still have 2 more races to go, so a bit of an excuse. But yeah, we'll go and have a bit of fun.
Get some caffeine in you?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Brian, thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Beth. So that as we continue to work down, we'll go down to Dominic Herbertson in 7th. Jamie Coward has finished in 8th. Sean Anderson in 9th. Ian Hutchinson rounds out the top 10 there as well. Anyone really impressed you in there, Mike?
Yeah, do you know what? It's great to see Dom. Just over the last few years, he's kind of been pushing on and getting some really impressive results, and up there with the likes of Josh Brooks, Jamie Coward, and Sean Anderson, who have been coming here a few years. So yeah, it's a good ride, and it's great to see Ian Hutchinson back on a fast form. On the TT after the sort of injuries that the man's had over the last few years. Yeah, fantastic to see.
We mentioned that Paul Jordan has missed out on 4th place by a mere 9/10 of a second to Mike Brown. 5th place it is for Paul Jordan, who's with Beth.
He is. He's just shouting up to Davey Todd there, and just giving him some of the overview of the race. Paul flipping heck. That was a close one.
Yeah, it was close. It's obviously between me and Mike. We've been all week. We've been one first tracking between each other on the timing sheet. So yeah, he got me in that one. Yeah, we just had we had a bit of a technical issue in the last lap there, which I had to sort of really just try and watch the bike as such. We were coming into Glen Helen to look down the dash, and the bike was at 124 degrees, and I was like, oh my goodness, this thing's never going to make her home. So I was just watching my back shifts, and I'm really pleased to get home in 5th place. I've done a PB in my 600 lap time, which is our Supersport lap time. So yeah, I'm over the moon with that.
must be a nightmare when you know something's not quite right and you just can't get it out of your head.
Yeah, and it just takes your eye off the ball a little bit. You just lose a little bit of concentration. But the boys have worked faultless all week. And to get another race under us is incredible. And top 5 of the TT is still a good result.
Still, it's a brilliant result. Paul Jordan, thank you.
Thank you.
Really well done to Paul Jordan. So just outside the top 10, Mitchell Reese. That's a fantastic ride. Just missed out on his first ever TT top 10 there, 11th place for Mitch Reese.
Yeah, not bad when you consider it's only Mitch's second year at the Isle of Man TT. He'd had a fantastic year last year, winning the Vernon Cooper Award for the best newcomer. He did a fantastic job. But yeah, great to see him doing well again.
Mike Brown, the rider who pipped Paul Jordan for that 4th place, is with Beth.
He certainly is, and just having a little bit of a chat here with somebody in the paddock. But Mike Brown, flipping heck, we were just talking to Paul Jordan there. You pipped him at that one?
Yeah. I didn't realise it at the time with the transponder not working, but we just rode as hard as we could for the whole race, and yeah, lucky to get in 4th.
And that must be, again, so hard when something technical like that, and obviously you've got your team. Were you having pit boards and stuff out there? Was that the plan?
Yeah, the plan was to have, I had 3 pit boards out there, but they weren't putting them out, and I didn't really cop that maybe my transponder wasn't working. I wasn't sure, maybe was there someone behind me, or I didn't really know what was going on, to be honest, but I just kept riding around and got her back.
How careful were you coming into pit lane today for the pit stop?
Yeah, going in was probably okay. It was going out the last time was a bit of an issue, so no, I definitely made sure I got past the line this time before I left go of the button, but silly mistake, but we made up for it.
Certainly have, Mike Brown. Thank you so much.
Cheers, thank you.
Magic, there we go then. So Mike Brown, those transponder issues threw us a bit on the opening lap. We weren't sure where he figured in. We thought he might actually be right there with Hickman for that podium spot earlier on. In the end, there are 19.4 seconds between Hickman and Brown in 4th, but nonetheless a really impressive performance on that Boyce Precision Engineering by Russell Racing R6.
Yeah, if you've got your live timing on around the course or perhaps at home, some of the live timing screens are still not showing Mike Brown in that 4th place. So if you can see Paul Jordan is 4th, Josh Brooks 5th. Knock them down by 1 position because Mike Brown is indeed in 4th position. We'll get back down then now to Beth, who's making her way around the paddock. She is with David Datzer, I believe.
I certainly am, David. We said it was so brilliant to see you back here at the TT. How was that race for you?
Yeah, for me it was really, really, really amazing. After 1.5 years back on the TT and now my second finisher, I gained 18 positions in the team, and I'm really, really happy with 119 mile per hour. I'm so happy, really. But I feel me really good.
And it's all about those sort of the personal achievements, isn't it? It's just brilliant. And the conditions out there improving for you?
Yeah, for me was it really okay. Yeah, I had no problems. It's only their own problem every time me the rider.
It's brilliant to see with the smile on your face.
Thank you very much.
I'm just also standing next to Ryan Garside, so I'll just interrupt this conversation again. Ryan, how was that race for you?
That was all right, yeah. It was pretty boring to be on my own. I didn't see anybody all race. I didn't catch anyone. I didn't get caught by anyone. But yeah, it was all right. It was good fun. It's pretty much bone dry. I said there's one tiny bit at coming onto about a mile, and that's it. I did win a fight with a bird. I'm covered in blood and guts. It hit me square on the fist, so I knocked it out. But other than that, yeah, spot on. Enjoyed myself. It was good fun. Beat my PB by a little bit, but still a few seconds off of 120. So we'll go again on a little bite this afternoon and see how we get on.
And coming into the pit stop, we know that in the last race you kind of missed it a little bit. They were very distinctive today, were they, your team?
Yes. We've got a nice big yellow board waving. It helped, to be fair, that there was nobody in front of me, and when I came in pit lane I could see them straight away. I made a point of going up pit lane and finding out exactly where I was, and we were right next to the grandstand, so that's something that stands out nice and easy to see as well. Sorry, the podium, so it's nice and easy to see. Yeah, it was all right, that one, Doddle, and I made sure that I didn't get done for speeding, so it slower than the pit limiter, but yeah, a clean stop that. Maybe not the fastest, but it was clean.
Let's spare a thought for the bird. Ryan, thank you so much.
No worries, thank you.
Fantastic. Beth is getting fantastic interviews. These guys are so full of stories and animated as they get off the bikes. Fantastic to see. We've got the riders coming up. We'll have the podium presentation shortly. We'll carry on down the leaderboard. We've got down to Mitchell Reese, who finished in 11th. Nathan Harrison, it's 12th, which I think he'll be happy with given the form of his Supersport machine over TT 2026. 13th for Michael Evans, 14th for Pierre-Yves Bihan, that's a good result as well. 15th for Rob Hodson, 16th for Erno Costamo, 17th for Barry Ferber, 18th for Michael Sweeney, 19th for Davo Johnson, 20th for Davo Johnson, then 20th for Joey Thompson. Just outside the top 20, Julian Trummer completes in 21st. Michael Russell, that's a good result as well. 22nd for Michael Russell.
Yeah, I'll be really pleased with that, and it's another finish. He's competing on a lot of bikes this week, so to get another finish would be great for Michael Russell.
23rd for Brian McCormack, who Beth's already spoken to. 24th, another really good result for Kevin Keyes.
Yeah, there's some fantastic rides all down the field, isn't there?
Brilliant stuff. Toby Shan, 25th. Yeah, Maurizio Bartolico, 26th. Lots of these guys moving up from the Manx Grand Prix, getting really impressive results. Alan Ventnor is in 27th. We'll just go down to 30th. James Chalk, 28th. Ryan Whitehall, 29th. 30th for David Datzer. But we're ready for the podium presentations. Chris Kinley.
Thank you very much to Chris Boyd. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the podium presentation for the Monster Energy Supersport TT Race 2. And on behalf of Monster Energy, please give a big round of applause for Luke Tarrant. Off you go, bud. Up you go. Up those lovely, lovely steps. And get yourself onto the TT podium. And you'll be led by the team up there. Ladies and gentlemen, in third position, riding the Trooper Triumph for his own race team, is number 10, Peter Hickman. To go with his fine third place in the first Monster Energy Supersport race the other day. And in second position, riding the Honda Racing Honda CBR 600RR, Dean Harrison. And now, ladies and gentlemen, making his way up onto the podium to be a 35-time TT winner, riding the MD Racing Ducati Panigale V2, Michael Dunlop. A few spectators in the back there giving them a good wave. Michael giving them a thumbs up as well. And of course, this trophy he's now going to get, of course, is the Classic TT Trophy, the former Classic TT Trophy, first won in 1911 at an average speed of 41.45 mile an hour by PJ Evans. Ladies and gentlemen, your Monster Energy Supersport TT Race 2 winner, Michael Dunlop. And now, ladies and gentlemen, if you are able to be upstanding for the British National Anthem. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much to Luke from Monster Energy, Luke Tarrant there presenting the awards. Ladies and gentlemen, we will have the champagne going any second now, but first of all, once again, for number 10, Peter Hickman, number 3, Dean Harrison, and your race winner, Michael Dunlop. A final round of applause, please. And the Forage and Vintners sparkling stuff will be sprayed any moment now, and there goes Dean Harrison. He's got to go, and Michael Azana's Pete as well. Brilliant, brilliant stuff from the Monster Energy Supersport TT Race 2 podium. Back to you, boys.
Thank you very much, Chris Kinley. The champagne is flowing. Peter Hickman's the one that seems to have the broadest smile. They've all got more business to come today on Senior Race Day at TT 2026. So none of them taking a swig from the bottle. They've all got plenty more to come. We'll work our way down at the rest of the results, but Beth has Paul Cassidy.
Certainly do. Paul, talk us through your race.
Yeah, it was a steady one, to be honest with you. It was a bit cautious the first lap. Obviously, we did the sighting lap. The conditions were better this time than they were the other night we went out. I found myself. We knew where the wet patches were. Obviously, on the mountain, coming onto the mountain was probably the worst. And then, yeah, we sort of got ahead going. Caught the first man by the crane. That was my target, catch Forbes. And as soon as we caught him, we knew we were on a good time there, to be honest with you. Managed to get past him down, I think it was Sulby Straight. And then, yeah, he sat with us then for the rest of the duration of the race. But, Obviously, there was a bit of an incident there at Union Mills. We came through there, took the foot off the peg, just so everyone could sort of see that we do slow down. There is a lot of boys, whether they do or they don't, but we do slow down, acknowledge the marshals, give them a nod, and then we go. But I hope he's all right. And yeah, we sort of got down, got going. We did a 1:19.3, I think, off the top of my head. We really struggled the start of the week trying to find a base setting with the Ducati. It's very twitchy, very nervous, especially on the bumpy stuff. On the mountain, it was lovely, like it's on rails. But we went to AGR Motorsport. They did the front end for us. We put 10s in the front. We've been to Maxton. He's done an 11 rear, and that transformed the bike today. Made a massive difference. I think we did 40 seconds quicker.
Your pit stop looked good as well.
Pit stop was fantastic. The boys pulled it out of the bag there, to be honest with you. They got the tank on, got the lid on, filled it with fuel. Can't thank them enough. At the end of the day, you can't do it without them. You need them.
And happy enough overall then?
Happy enough overall, yeah. That sort of redeemed itself a little bit. It was a little bit depressing sort of the start of the week and middle of the week, and we weren't really getting laps, and it was a long time between Friday and getting out then Sunday, and realistically you need a big bike, don't you, to be out all the time spinning laps. I think on the Ducati we've only done 7 laps in total. It's not enough realistically, but it is what it is. You can only do what you can do.
Thank goodness the sun is out now. All we can see is blue sky.
Blue skies, what's that, eh? I know, it was about time we had it, and hopefully now we all have a good sort of afternoon, everyone behaves themselves, and we have a good end to it near enough.
Paul Cassidy, thank you.
Cheers, thank you.
And we all say aye to that as we look out from here on the grandstand tower. We see more blue sky than we have at any point today, so fingers crossed all looks well for this afternoon's racing. Into the rest of those results for Supersport TT Race 2, we got down to the top 30. In 31st, Loris Meitzen. In 32nd, Timothy Minot. Then in 33rd, we've just heard from him, Paul Cassidy. 34th will be Ryan Garside. 35th, Daniel Forbes. 36th, Jack Fowler. 37th, Sam Johnson. 38th, Tom Whedon. 39th, Martin Morris. 40th will be Amalric Blanc. 41st will be George Halliday. 42nd, David Brook. And 43rd, Craig Shapek, who is with Beth.
Certainly is. Another TT finish there, Craig.
Yeah, it was good to finish another one. Only just, but yeah, good to finish.
And you know what? I mean, it's no mean feat. I think everybody who's out there and everybody who's watching knows that finishing any TT race is an incredible thing. There's a whole team behind you. How did you find it overall?
The whole thing was fantastic. I was feeling good. The bike was good until the very end, and then the electronics just started turning the bike off. So I say I'm very frustrated with the bike, but everyone got the pit stop right. Everything was perfect, other than these bits. And I know the bike would have worked last year and it would have been fine without all this stuff on. Don't want to moan too much about it, but yeah, the electronics let us down this year.
And that's really tough, isn't it, when you know it's something like that?
Yeah, especially because it's something that we've had to put on. If it was something we'd chosen to put on, it'd be like that. But yeah, annoying.
Is what it is, and you've got another finish. Going for a sit down now?
Yeah, I'll go for a rest and just remind myself to enjoy what went well and not get too caught up on the negatives of it. But yeah, I'm very happy, and I've had a good ride round again. So,
Craig Shapek, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Nice one, Craig. Thank you very much indeed, Beth, as well. Just completing a little bit of the housekeeping then for the record books. Dunlop, as Boydie has said, is up to 35 Isle of Man TT wins now and 54 podiums. Dean Harrison's 38th podium now moves him into a sole 4th in the record books, ahead of Bruce Anstey, and just 2 away now from the late, great Joey Dunlop. For Supersport wins, Dunlop is up to 17 and 21 podiums. And also a shout out to Ducati as a manufacturer in this their 100th birthday year, dating back the Bologna Bullets to 1926. Ducati have just celebrated their 12th Isle of Man TT victory into the top 10, pushing Moto Guzzi down to 11th place. So Ducati now, with just one more, would equal BSA, who had their victories between 1949 and 68. So Ducati are into the top 10 in terms of manufacturer victories now here at the Isle of Man.
Excellent. I think that just about rounds up Supersport TT Race 2, Monster Energy Supersport TT Race 2. It became a rerun of Supersport Race 1. The same top 3, Dunlop, Harrison and Hickman. The same situation. Harrison led the opening lap. Dunlop hauled him back in the pit stop and just raced away from there. Coming up next is the Carroll Nash Sport Bike TT Race 1 over 2 laps. That is due to start at 3:15.
Keep up to date with Manx Radio's dedicated motorsport website, motorsport.manxradio.com, your one-stop shop for news, travel, road closures and racing schedules. You can also step into Manx Radio 1368's 60-year motorsport archive, including interviews with your favourite riders, race highlights from yesteryear, and our collection of motorsport videos and podcasts. Motorsport.manxradio.com, the home for motorsport on the Isle of Man, from the best biking station in the world, Manx Radio 1368.